He's swung on and hit the end of right field deep. And you can't forget about this one. Blaze Salter hits number 5, and the Newport Gulls retake the lead.
This is the Newport Gulls pregame show, live from Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island.
Gone! A grand slam! To left power, right tower power, and the Gulls walk off in the 15th inning!
Coming up, interviews, stats, standings, lineups, and a whole lot more.
Tomas steps on the back for one out, throws to first, and he's in time, a double play.
And that one is gone! Joey Hafner!
Swinging a high drive, left field deep. Bolzano going back, looking up. This ball is a 2-run homer. P.J. Jones hits it out.
Stay tuned. The pregame show begins now on the NECBL Broadcast Network. In his second season covering Newport Gulls baseball, here's play-by-play broadcaster Dave Peck.
Newport looks to climb back to 500 as they take on the Sanford Mainers here in an interdivisional matchup. Dave Peck welcoming you to Cardines Field on Forster Orthodontics Night, where 250 drawstring bags will be given away at the ballpark, courtesy of Forster Orthodontics. The Gulls 13-14, 4.5 games back of the top spot in the Southern Division standings, coming off a split doubleheader against the Plymouth Pilgrims yesterday. After losing Game 1 5-3, Newport bounced back with a comeback 4-3 win in 7 innings against the Pilgrims. Nick Enright picked up the win, while Nate Ryder collected his 7th save of the season. Offensively, Stevie Mangrum homered twice to keep the Gulls in it, but it was Tim Tawa in the top of the 7th with a go-ahead 2 RBI double to give Newport a 4-3 lead. They'll face off against the Sanford Mainers, who are 13-11, currently 3rd in the Northern Division standings. The Mainers coming off a 5-3 loss to the Keene Swamp Bats on Monday night. They come in with a .233 average as a team. That is last in the NECBL, but they do have the 5th-ranked pitching staff in the league. It's the Gulls and the Mainers in the first matchup of the season between the DuPaul clubs. Don't go anywhere. The Newport Gulls pregame show starts right now. Welcome back to the pregame show on the NECBL Broadcast Network. It is time for the Broadcasters Roundtable. Dave Peck alongside Newport Gulls field reporter Arm Layton and the voice of the Sanford Mainers, Mike Glennon. Arm, we'll start with you. Big comeback win yesterday. They split the doubleheader. How do they carry that momentum forward?
Well, I mean, a comeback win, like you said, in the end of the game. The Gulls have been struggling. To have something like that to bring into the next game, we've been talking about over and over again, flipping the calendar, building off of something. That's something that the Gulls can really build off of and carry it into Cardines Field, where they've been better than they have been on the road.
Nick Enright did get the start, and it was Nate Ryder who picked up his 7th save of the season. What did you see from those guys yesterday?
Well, they need consistency, like we've said, from the pitching. It's been really inconsistent. And when you give up runs early, it's really hard to climb back into the game. Ryder's been dominant in the back of the bullpen, but the point is getting to that point where you have the lead and he can shut the door, and that's on the starting pitching. And for Enright to give back-to-back quality starts, that's something that Gulls really need to build off of, and hopefully it's contagious and the rest of the rotation can build off of that as well.
Newport has had quite a few guys leave the Gulls this season, and Cole Austin in particular was a guy leading the offense, but a couple of guys have stepped up here for Newport.
Absolutely. Stevie Mangrum's looked great. 2 home runs yesterday. The middle of the order is as good as any middle of the order you're going to see in the NECBL. Of course, that's a lot of offense you got to make up with Cole Austin, who is around the top of the league in terms of run production. But like I said, the Gulls have as good of a middle of the order as any team in the league, and Stevie Mangrum has to pick up the slack, and you got guys like Dalton Reed as well. And I think they'll do that, and as we've seen Stevie start to do that already.
All right, Mike, we'll toss it over to you. Sanford coming in at .233 average, last in the NECBL, but they're 3rd in the Southern Division. Something's been working. What do they have to do to get the win here tonight?
Well, I mean, the crucial thing's been pitching all season long. That's really kind of what has got this team here. 2 really strong arms in the back end of the bullpen with both Jack Weisenberger and John Murphy, and really just kind of up and down the bullpen has really been where it's at. A very capable lineup. If you look at the numbers of what these guys did at school, what they've been able to do here, it's been short little bursts, but if they can put it all together, that's the real key, is when are they both going to come together. It's been either or. It's time to put both together, especially moving down this final stretch. The hitting is there, just need to get a little bit more consistency out of it.
Is there something in particular about the hitting, about the approach maybe, that has hurt them, or just hasn't been going their way?
I don't necessarily know about the approach. They're aggressive as usual. They love to play small ball, which is a huge crucial part of this team, but I think the biggest thing is hitting with 2 outs. The 2-out hitting has been a little bit short, to say the least, as far as earlier on in this season. And getting runners in scoring position and bringing those guys, they've started to do a lot better job early in games of capitalizing on that. They just need to be a little bit more consistent about it, especially with 2 outs in an inning, because again, late in games, 2 outs in an inning with runners in scoring position, that's crucial. Had a bases loaded jam the other night at the end of the game, at the bottom of the 9th inning, 2 outs, weren't able to bring anybody home, went into the 10th and ended up falling in extras. So that's just kind of where it comes in, and I really think that if they start to get the 2-out hitting going, then you'll start to see this team really start turning around.
The Mainers, of course, from the Northern Division. It's been a Northern Division that Valley has really controlled the entire season, and the Mainers are on the upper side of a drop-off in the standings, but how confident is this team going forward the last couple of weeks, and possibly, if they're able to hold on, get a playoff spot and make a run?
Well, I mean, the Mainers have kind of been up there the entire season. Really, besides their 1-2 start, they've been in the top 3 positions, have been tied for first, second. Really, this is the first, I guess, prolonged period where we've been in that 3rd spot. It's only been a couple of days. We've been in second for most of it. You start to see Valley drop a couple of games, kind of start to even out, level out. So I really think it's just a matter of, as long as you're one of the last 3 teams left in this Northern Division, then you have a chance. And if this team has a chance, I have 100% confidence in the fact that given a 1-game playoff, even in the 3-game series, you put this team up against really anybody in this league, they'd be able to hang with them, if not beat them. So.
All right, should be a good matchup between the Gulls and the Mainers. For Mike Glenn and Aram Layton, I'm Dave Peck. The Newport Gulls pregame show continues next right here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to the NECBL pregame show. I'm Dan Byford here alongside Dalton Reed. Dalton got his first time at first base last game, both games in the doubleheader. Dalton, what was it like to come and play first base after DHing all year?
It's been nice to get back out there. Just give some of the guys a break that gets a chance to DH, and just trying to help the team out.
So, didn't look like there was any rust there for you. Flashing the leather very early on. Got your first assist of the season as well, thrown over to first. How do you stay sharp and ready when the time comes?
I take ground balls just about every day during BP, just so if I do got to play first base, it's not like something I haven't done in a while, so I just take a lot of ground balls.
All right, so you've also been super consistent at the plate this year. You're always making guys work, and even on the pitches you miss, you seem to have a pretty good gauge on it, timing-wise. What do you do to stay locked in up there?
I just really watch the pitcher and be like throwing other guys, like other left-handers, to see what they're throwing and what counts are going to throw an off-speed in, so I just stay on it like that.
All right, and for some of the guys at home who are maybe thinking about trying to see if they can play baseball at the next level, can you walk us through a little bit like the recruiting process for how you ended up here with the Gulls?
Yeah, I have an advisor, and then my coaches that will be my coaches at University of Kentucky, they send guys here a lot, so like they said it was a really great place to play, like on an island, so I was like, oh, for sure going since it's on an island. And then I just talked to Chuck, and then it just everything sounded great, so I decided to come play here, and I love it.
And does it compare at all to the recruiting process when you're deciding where you're going to play ball in college?
Yeah, somewhat. Just because you want to find a good place to play, a good league, and like a good surrounding area. So it's just pick the best place you want to go. So.
And can you give me a little bit of information about the transfer process and what that's like?
Yeah, so I did 2 years at JUCO, so I'll transfer to the University of Kentucky. It'll be a little different because it's SEC and not junior college, but you just have to adapt fast.
All right. Thanks a bunch, Dalton. The NECBL pregame show continues next.
Welcome back to the pregame show here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Nick Bell here with Austin Mitchell for this week's Ask a Goal segment. Now, Austin, so the first question I have for you from one of our fans is, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Recently I went to this place called Anna D's in Portsmouth, and they have a, peanut butter chocolate chip.
Ooh, that sounds good. Oh. And second question, if the Gulls had a home run derby, who would win?
I got to put one of my pitchers in there. I'd go Jerry Shep. He's had a lot of pop in our pitcher's beat, so I'd put him in over all the hitters.
All right. And the third question, who has the best hair on the team?
Best hair. I'm going to go Coach Grawl. I'm seeing it right now, actually. We got the flow in back, the business in front, party in the back, so I'm going to go with Coach Grawl.
Yeah, his hair is pretty nice as he's sitting right there in front of us. Back turn, yeah, you got the back right now. It's perfect. And the fourth question is, so, you guys go out a lot probably, I'm assuming.
Sure.
All right. And so who tries their best to look good? Like, who takes the most time to look good?
Wow, another good one. Nick Enright's a big appearance guy. He really takes his time to set himself and make sure he's looking good. I think he has a girlfriend back at home, but he always wants to look his best.
So it works for him.
It works.
And now the infamous riddle portion of our segment right here. Are you ready for this? All right. So you walk 1 mile south, 1 mile west, and 1 mile north. You end up exactly where you started, but where are you in terms of like geographical location?
North Pole?
Correct. Yeah, that's a good one.
Nice.
All right. So thank you, Austin, and the pregame show continues next on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
Big feature interview.
Welcome back to the NECBL Broadcast Network pregame show. I'm Joe DeLeon for today's edition of Gulls Insider, where we take a look behind the scenes at the various people that are involved with the operations and as well as the media here at the Newport Gulls. And I'm actually standing with the voice of the Newport Gulls, Dave Peck. Now, Dave, from what I understand, you were originally a member of the staff last year as an intern, working just as a media intern. What led you to come back, and what kind of put things in motion for you to be the play-by-play guy this year?
I mean, all this, the guys, the field, Cardines, the city of Newport. I was lucky enough to get an opportunity last year. I was doing some camera. I did some stuff on social media. I was in the booth, just like you guys are doing this year, doing interviews like this. I was actually holding the mic interviewing Darren Zasla, who was the broadcaster last year. And he left. He went to graduate school at Northwestern Medill School of Journalism. And it was kind of in place that, based on things that I had talked to with Mike Falcone, Shannon, and Tom, and I was really excited, just a matter of finding a place to stay and, being able to cash in on the opportunity. And I was lucky enough to come back, and now, a bigger role, but a lot of fun. And now I'm kind of the one who's, directing everyone a little bit. Obviously Tom and Shannon are the ones on top, but, it's fun, and it's a new experience that, I'm really excited about having.
So not a lot of fans really give credit for how difficult it is to do play-by-play. What would you say that experience was like the first time you actually got to do it, not particularly with the Gulls, but maybe outside of out of here in Newport?
Yeah, the first time I actually did play-by-play was this past fall for baseball, and it was Bowdoin College. My former teammates, they were just scrimmaging each other, and I would take a chair, and I would take a trash can behind the backstop, and I would broadcast it into my phone. I would just do play-by-play into my phone. And, players would come in, we'd talk a little bit, but I'd listen back to it, and that's kind of where I started. And then, they'd have scrimmages in the bubble, which is like the indoor baseball facility we have, and I do those games, and then I did the Bowdoin season and kind of gaining confidence a little bit. Also, Darren Zasla was a huge help, a mentor to me, and I still talk to him, a few times a week, just critiquing little things, because that's really what it comes down to in play-by-play. It's the little things that, people may not pick up on, but those who know, and that's how you kind of fine-tune, what you want to do when you're behind the mic.
So as you alluded to, you previously played baseball, but you were also a dual athlete at Bowdoin. What kind of impact has sports had on you throughout your life?
I mean, yeah, obviously huge. Football and baseball at Bowdoin originally, and a lot of concussions unfortunately took me out of both. But broadcasting is something that I always wanted to do. I don't necessarily go to school for it, but it gives me a lot of opportunity because there aren't a lot of people who are interested in that. And it was actually on our baseball trip when I was hurt, I went down to Florida with the team, and I was just walking around because the guys were warming up, and I ran into the general manager of the Waves, Matt Finlayson, and I didn't know him at all. I went up to him, said, "This is what I'm interested in doing." He gave me the headset, said, "Call an inning." I said, "Okay, I will." And, then the rest is history. He got me in touch with Mike. I did the summer last year, and now here we are doing this. So it's been a huge part. And, I miss playing. Watching these guys is obviously tough, but it's obviously a lot of fun as well.
So you mentioned that you said you are trying to get into broadcasting. What are your intentions after your internship here with the Gulls and maybe going forward after you graduate?
Yeah, I still have one more year left at Bowdoin, so I'm going to go abroad, and I'm hopefully going to work for a football team in Rome. That'll be a lot of fun. That'll come back, call the Bowdoin baseball season again in the spring, and after that, hopefully some sort of graduate school program, looking at a few schools in the Midwest, also Boston area. So, that will put me in a hopeful good situation going forward. And then after that, it's tough. You don't know where you're going to be. You could be out west, you could be south, you could be in the Midwest. It's kind of a work your way up type situation. And, you know that when this is what you choose to do. And the dream job, I don't know what it is, but it's about, kind of continuing to progress, continuing to work hard and, enjoying the journey and all that.
Now, do you think there's any likelihood that you come back next summer for the Gulls?
I don't know yet. I don't know. It depends on a lot of things. Graduate school depends if, for one, I get in, 2, when the start date is, 3, any other opportunities that may present itself, because you never know. That's the biggest thing. You put yourself out there, you talk to people, and you kind of, figure out, how you can best network and put yourself in the right situations, You have to create your own luck in this industry, and, so far it's been going well, but it could also shoot down. So you have to every day be thankful that we're in the city of Newport calling, the Gulls games, and really enjoy it every time.
All right, thank you, Dave. That is the end of Gulls Insider as we continue the NECBL Broadcast Network pregame show after this.
Welcome back to the pregame show. It's time for the manager's show. Haven't had one in a while, but welcome back, Coach Mike Coombs.
I've been somewhere. You didn't come out there to see me. I was out there. That's where they put me.
They certainly didn't put you in front of the mic. You don't know how hard it was to get an interview in your absence. Grawley denied me. Xander, he doesn't want to do it. Interviewed Rhodey once.
Rhodey, did he do a good job?
Actually did a good job.
Good. Well, Grawley's Grawley. If you get him on the right time, you could get him to do something, but sometimes he's ornery.
He's particular. So a big win yesterday. Obviously, you want to be able to take 2 in a doubleheader, but comeback win, you're able to get 2 runs in the top of the 7th. How big is that? This is a tough stretch, and really the stretch.
That's awesome right there, pulling that out and having that job that we did was excellent. I've never seen the guys battle that hard. I mean, we were 12 and 14, I think it was, and then to battle back and yank that one out of there, tail end of a doubleheader, and take it out of there with a positive note. Excellent.
Still a few weeks left in the season, but you guys have 7 games in 6 days this week. By the end of this week, Sunday, is it make or break time, or is there still time after that?
Got to do it now.
How do you do it?
You just keep it. You plug it at it. You get after it. I don't have many guys on the bench. We got a few guys gone home and because of injuries and things like that. But right now, you got to get after it as hard as you can. You can play as hard as you can. You just positive, enthusiastic. Whatever word you want to use to get it going, that's us right now. I mean, I told them last night after the game, I said, don't worry about 25 wins. If you get them, you get them. If you don't, you don't. But we need to get a playoff spot, and how you do that is what you just did the second game of this doubleheader. This is how you play the game. Play it hard. Let's get good pitching. Let's get good hitting, fielding, and let's see where the markers lay after all this.
You mentioned a lot of guys leaving. That's been tough, obviously. Cole Austin, now a few pitchers, a couple other hitters as well. As a manager, how are you able to deal with that with your coaching staff and try and, put out guys that aren't necessarily as comfortable maybe playing a position that they didn't in the past?
Well, we got a new guy in, and a shortstop, so that's helped out. We moved Jack over to second right now. Might give him a few days at short or whatever, but when Cole Austin left, that was a big bat out of our lineup that left. Now Zach Britton is going to be gone, so we're struggling. But the guys that I have in the lineup swing it. They get after it. They got a smile on their face. They want to play for Newport. So we're going to get after it.
You're going to get after it with 1 pitch,
1 inning, 1 strike, 1 something.
He's not going to say it. Did you talk to Nick Lima a couple days ago?
I talked to Nick. That was our little deal every year. Yeah. 1 inning, 1 out, 1 pitch. That's it.
There you go. Mike Coombs. The Gulls and the Mainers are up next right here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
Once again, here's Dave Peck and the Newport Gulls broadcast team.
It's Game 4 of this 7-game stretch for the Gulls as they host the Sanford Mainers in an interdivisional showdown. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cardines Field. Dave Peck alongside Newport Gulls scorekeeper Andre Olivier, the voice of the Sanford Mainers Mike Glennon, and Newport Gulls field reporter Joe DeLeon. This is the first time that the Gulls and Mainers have squared off this season. They will show down again in Sanford a couple of weeks from now, but as it stands here on July 11th, Newport 13-14, currently 4th in the Southern Division standings, 4.5 games back of the first spot in the Plymouth Pilgrims, 2 games back of that last playoff spot that the Ocean State Waves hold on to right now. Sanford 13-11, 3rd in the North right now, 3.5 games back of first place, and a half game up on the Upper Valley Nighthawks. Dave Peck alongside Mike Glennon here. Last game for the Gulls, it was last night, the doubleheader split with the Plymouth Pilgrims at Forges Field. Game 1, a 5-3 loss. They ended up coming back and winning Game 2, 4-3, both 7-inning games. Game 1, Tyler Madison picked up the loss, 5 innings, 12 hits, 5 runs, no walks, 5 strikeouts, and there was a 2-run first and a 2-run second for the Pilgrims. That's all they would end up needing. In Game 2, Nick Enright picked up the win, 6 innings strong, just 3 runs off 6 hits, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. And how about Nate Ryder picking up his 7th save of the season? That is first in the NECBL. Offensively, Stevie Mangrum with home runs 7 and 8. He kept the Gulls in it until the top of the 7th inning. Tim Tawa with the 2 RBI double, the go-ahead runs that scored, and it was a big win as Newport is just trying to hang around here. For Sanford, though, as I bring in Mike Glennon, they've been around the entire time, just 3.5 games back. They're in a playoff spot right now, coming off a 5-3 loss on Monday night, but they're happy with the way things are going so far this season.
Yeah, and we talked about a little bit in the pregame. I think, if anything, if you ask the head coaching staff of the Sanford Mainers what would be the thing you would want to improve most, is this the consistency of the hitting. The hitting has been there, but it's been a little bit sporadic. The pitching has been there all season long, and just like you mentioned, Ryder, for you, we have 2 guys in the back end of the bullpen, and Jack Weisenberger and John Murphy, that have really just done the job at the end of ball games and have picked up 7 saves of their own combined between the two. So the bullpens have been there. It's just a matter of matching the bullpen with the hitting. That's been the big thing. And sometimes if the Mainers have fallen behind early on in games, it's been a little bit tougher to come back. But they've been doing a much better job over the last couple of games, even with a couple of losses thrown in there, of at least getting out and jumping on the scoreboard early. And that's been a big thing. And they've been able to ride into a couple of victories, just not to the consistency that they would have liked so far.
As an offense, they're batting .233, last in the NECBL. Only 214 strikeouts, which may seem like a lot, but that's just 5th.
Yeah.
So they're putting the ball in play, giving themselves an opportunity at least.
Yeah.
They just need to kind of cash in. You mentioned 2-out hitting is going to be big for them.
Well, and they had a ton of strikeouts in the first probably 2-3 weeks of the season, but since that point, they've been a lot more selective on the pitches. They've been going the other way. That's been a huge thing, is a lot of the guys that were really trying to pull the ball early on have started to push the ball the other way and at least put the ball in play. May not have always been a hit, but at least put the ball in play. And of course, these guys, the way they usually hit, that does fuel them a little bit, being kind of last in the league right now as far as batting average concerned, but a very capable lineup that if they get hot, look out, they're going to be a tough team to beat.
And it's a lineup that may be struggling, but they're going up against a Newport pitching staff that is struggling so far this season. 5.9 earned run average, that is 12th in the NECBL. And Joe, as a pitching staff here, you had a nice outing from Enright. Nate Ryder has been consistent the entire season to pick up the win in Game 2 last night, but what do they have to do? What does Josh Bates have to do here to come in and, try and shut down an offense that's struggling, but still, anything can happen in the NECBL.
Well, as you talked about, Bates does get a little bit of help here. The Mainers, as you've mentioned, are struggling a lot with batting. Overall, it feels like that the main theme has been struggling in starting pitching. We saw last home game on Monday night against the Waves was a rough one in which they allowed 17 runs. They need to be smarter today, especially in the pitches that they're putting out there, and also in the opportunities that they're giving up to the opposing team's batters.
Thank you, Joe. Newport in its last 5, 2-3 record, just a .211 batting average. It was an offense that was well north of 300 early on. That has dropped. They're now 3rd, a .281 average, which isn't that bad on paper, but it's just gone down and down, and they need to figure out a way to be more consistent. And what it does is put a lot of pressure on an already struggling pitching staff, and that's kind of the opposite case for Sanford, a pitching staff that's been good, and they've had to bail out the offense, but they've been able to do so. You're 13-11, 3rd in the North.
Yeah, and just want to welcome in those that are joining us on 102.3 The Legends FM back in Sanford. But you're right, the pitching wins championships, and it always goes along with the defense idea as well, but it's one of those things that the pitching staff has been very comfortable as far as getting ahead early in counts, I should say, even in sticky situations. Guys coming out of the pen with bases loaded or second and third, maybe one, maybe two outs, and just getting out of those situations. They've done a very good job. The biggest thing is, though, combining that with the hitting. It's been either or in a lot of games where it should be both, but unfortunately it's kind of been working one way or the other. But they've been able to get runs where they need to. And as you mentioned, they've really been up at the top of that Northern Division all season long. So a very capable team. And if this team gets hot, then they have a very good chance of making a push at that number 1 seed as well. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. But this is a big game tonight because this is the only away game really as far as against the Southern Division that we have over the next couple of weeks. So get this one out of the way, and then you head home back tomorrow with a lot of Northern Division action over the next 5-6 days. So
statistically, these two teams are really matched up to be a push. We'll see what happens here. Of course, anything can happen in the NECBL. Newport 13-14, Sanford 13-11. First time these two teams have met this season on Forrester Orthodontics Night, where 250 drawstring bags were given away at the ballpark, courtesy of Forrester Orthodontics. We'll take a quick break and then send it over for Around the League updates right here on 102.3 The Legends FM and the NECBL Broadcast Network. As we welcome you back here to historic Cardines Field for the matchup between the Newport Gulls and the Sanford Mainers. And we will send it over to Newport Gulls field reporter Joe DeLeon to take a look at last night's action, today's matchups, and the standings around the league. Joe?
Thank you, Dave. Last night we had 6 games that occurred minus the doubleheader with the Gulls and the Plymouth Pilgrims. The first game that we have here is the Danbury Westerners getting a victory over the Upper Valley Nighthawks. They're pushing their way out of a recent slump that has put them in the bottom of the Southern Division. Additionally, the Winnipesaukee Muskrats are hot as of late, getting a 7-6 tight win against the North Adams Steeplecats. The New Bedford Basehawks got the best of the Mystic Schooners with a 7-0 blowout against them. And then the Ocean State Waves had a 7-3 victory on the Valley Blue Sox as they continue to push their way for top in the Southern Division. The Keene Swamp Bats got the best of the Vermont Mountaineers with a 6-3 victory. Now, as far as games tonight, the Mystic Schooners are playing against the Plymouth Pilgrims, who the Gulls faced off against last night, and that game starts at 6:30. The Upper Valley Nighthawks will be also taking on the Keene Swamp Bats. Danbury Westerners will see the Ocean State Waves at Old Mountain Field, and then the Winnipesaukee Muskrats are taking on the Vermont Mountaineers. And finally, the North Adams Steeplecats will take on the Northern Division leaders, the Valley Blue Sox. And now, as far as the standings are going, like I said, the Valley Blue Sox are currently leading the Northern Division with a record of 17-8, which is the best record actually in all of the NECBL. And right behind them, 4 games back, is the Keene Swamp Bats with a record of 16-12. At the very bottom of the division is the Winnipesaukee Muskrats, who have stayed there for a majority of the season with a record of 8-19. As far as the Southern Division, in which the Gulls are playing in, 18-10 is the record of the Plymouth Pilgrims, who are at the very top, followed by the Mystic Schooners and the Ocean State Waves, who both have 11 losses. The Newport Gulls sit in the very middle with a record of 13-14. And then finally, the Danbury Westerners have a record of 12-17 at the very bottom of the Southern Division. Back to you, Dave.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, it's a Southern Division that, at the beginning of the season, at least the month of June, was pretty close, and now we're starting to see a separation that is a little bit similar to the North, but the North is also getting closer as well. Keene 2.5 back of Valley, Sanford 3.5 back. They're in a similar spot as Newport, but the Gulls, they've beaten the Valley Blue Sox. They won 7-5 back on June 25th. Yes, they're losing the series head-to-head against the Pilgrims, but they did pick up a win 4-3 last night, and that just shows, there are 3 weeks left in the season, but anything can happen, and it's very hard to say. It might be a little rash to say that this is a make-or-break week.
Well, and you're right. It is one of those things, but a lot of baseball still left to be played, but the double-edged sword of that is that it starts to go pretty quickly. So you got to make sure that you're queuing in. This is crunch time for every team, regardless if you're at the top of the division or at the bottom. This is when you need to put it all together. Is this next week and the week and a half? So got to make sure. And it's funny, you look at the Northern Division, a little bit of a strange differential as it started out as really just a 3-team race, and then all of a sudden Keene has really put on the afterburners the last couple of weeks, have now jumped up over us into second place. So interesting to see that. They've been using a lot of offense. Who knows, maybe that'll cool, but it's become a kind of a 4, maybe even 5-team race depending on what happens with North Adams over the next couple of weeks. So all the teams in the Northern Division, of course, you're very well familiar with. Then down in the Southern Division, you can't stop playing until the last week of the season because you really don't know what's going to happen unless you're really kind of scraping the bottom. So
certainly going to be a tight race till the end. We'll send it down to Director of Baseball Operations Mike Falcone and the field festivities for the national anthem.
Here with us to perform tonight's national anthem is a duet by Dr. Foster's daughter and father-in-law, Julia Foster and Dr. Keats.
A beautiful duet national anthem sung this evening by Julia Forster and Dr. Gates of Forster Orthodontics Night. That is the sponsor this evening for the matchup between the Gulls and the Mainers. 6:37 here on the Eastern Seaboard, and the honor guard this evening was presented by Providence Police Department. We've had a lot of really nice volunteers the entire season that have done such a great job, from police departments to fire departments to the Cub Scout groups around the island and the greater Rhode Island area. So it's been a good time here at Newport, and we're just about set for baseball. So we'll take you through first the visiting lineup of the Sanford Mainers.
Well, leading off tonight out in right field, going to be Nick Howey back up in that leadoff spot. Right behind him is Austin Lively, who, since coming over to this team from the Cape Cod League, I should say, has been red hot atop the lineup. So he's back in that 2 spot tonight. Johnny Reiser doing a little DHing tonight, not playing out in center field, but he's still batting third. Tyler Solomon in the cleanup spot over at first base. Shane Marshall taking over the duties in center field and batting fifth. Connor Shepard in the 6th spot over at third base, as he usually is. Jonathan White hitting 7th, playing over at second base in place of Jake Alou. Josh Sabierski behind the dish, batting 8th. and Randy Bednar out in left field to round things out, with Matt Dockman on the mound making just his second start here in the NECBL.
Thank you, Mike. And that offense will face off against Josh Bates, the rising sophomore out of Tulane University, 6'2", 185, right-handed pitcher. So far this season, a 1-1 record in 4 games started, 5.62 earned run average. He's given up 17 hits, walked 12, and struck out 22 in 16 innings pitched. His last outing came in that 6-5 loss to the Upper Valley Nighthawks back on July 2nd. It was game number 2 of the doubleheader. He went 4 innings, gave up 4 runs on 3 hits, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts as the Gulls take the field here at Cardines Field. A beautiful Wednesday night, and we'll take you through the starting lineup for the Gulls. Tim Tawa leading things off out of Sanford. He plays center field. Batting in the 2-hole is Logan Harvey at first out of Wake Forest. Cody Hosey, the designated hitter, bats third out of Tulane. Stevie Mangrum in the cleanup spot out in right field from Virginia Tech. Jason Gonzalez bats fifth, playing third from Vanderbilt. Dylan Blue in left field from Washington State. He bats sixth. Behind him is Jack Blumgren, the shortstop from Michigan. John Mazza bats eighth, the catcher from Northeastern. And Jack Gethings rounds out the lineup here tonight for the Gulls, the second baseman out of Fairfield University. Again, Josh Bates on the mound, and in his freshman year at Tulane, Bates was 2-2, 16 appearances, 10 starts. That was the third most for the Green Wave. He had a 5.24 earned run average. That was fifth over all the pitchers who threw more than 10 innings this past season, 34 strikeouts and 30 walks. So we'll see what he can do here against a Sanford offense that is struggling on the season, but certainly capable of collecting a win here tonight in Game 1 between the Mainers and the Gulls. And take you through the umpires here tonight. Ben Wroblewski is the home plate umpire behind the plate. Tyler Bullock is at first. Will Bowers is at third. And the weather in Newport, Rhode Island, boy, has it been nice recently. 77 degrees, not a cloud in the sky as you see it on your screen there. Flag waving on the Discover Newport Center just to our west. 0% chance of precipitation, 55% humidity, and winds 12 miles per hour. They're blowing out of the west-southwest out towards right field, which is a little different than what we're used to. Usually it blows out to left, but we'll see what can happen. It's a short porch out there in right field. Newport third in the league in home runs. This season they have 31. And we'll take you through the field dimensions here at Cardines Field. Left field is 315. Left center is 365. It's 395 all the way out to center field. Then it comes back in there to 315 feet. And you see a couple of triangles there on the overhead look on your screen of Cardines Field. That was a feel of Fenway Park, maybe a little bit more complicated if you can believe it. Right field 285 with a 28-foot high fence all the way around. Dugouts on the same side here at Cardines Field, hockey style. Newport's closer to home plate. The Mainers' home is closer to first base. Newport wearing their all-white uniforms with Gulls written across the chest. Blue hats with the swinging seagull on the front of it. Numbers below, Gulls on the chest, white pants, and Mainers come in with green tops and gray pants with Sanford written in yellow across the chest.
And just to equate it for you if you're listening at home, it's got the old Oakland Athletics look to it as far as their away uniforms used to be, same kind of green and yellow combination.
So here is Nick Howie who digs in to the right-handed batter's box. First pitch from Bates is a strike taken on the outside corner. We're underway here at Cardines Field, 6:42. The start time here on the Eastern Seaboard. Everyone listening in on the NECBL Broadcast Network or 102.3 The Legends FM, welcome aboard. 0-1, swing and a miss on the changeup. Bates is quickly ahead 0-2 now.
And, you know, since they moved Howie up into the starting spot a couple of weeks ago, he's really done well atop the lineup. Always maybe an adjustment the first time through, but he's definitely a guy that, since they made that move, is starting to put a bat on ball a little bit more.
Here's the 0-2 pitch from Bates. It's a curveball that just misses inside, so 1 ball and 2 strikes to Howie. So far this season, Howie's batting .250. He's got 18 hits, 1 double, and 2 home runs along with 9 RBI.
And about 2/3 of those hits coming in the last couple of weeks. So
Bates winds and deals the 1-2, hit off the end of the bat, and nearly caught Austin Lively, who was in the on-deck circle. Fouled straight back to the backstop, but you know, you got to be aware here. Dugout's on the same side, so.
And the on-deck circle about 15 feet away from home plate, so it's not very far away.
Not very far at all. Ball's getting behind catchers here. You got to be thinking on your feet if you're on the base paths. 1-2 pitch, nice curveball, just misses outside. So 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I like that waste pitch there from Bates. He, of course, just missed the outside corner, but that's a big-time pitch, especially because it broke from about halfway into the plate to the outside batter's box. So
2-2. Breaking ball swung on and missed for strike 3. He goes back to it, and he picks up his first strikeout of the ball game, and there's one down here in the top of the first.
And that's a good job there because he started on the outside corner before, broke it back in over the inner half that time, got him to swing and miss. Good job, way to start out the game for Josh Bates.
So 1 down, and the crowd is excited there. A couple of free giveaways being given out by Gully, the mascot, but it'll be Austin Lively who digs in to the left-handed batter's box, shortstop, rising junior from Seattle. First pitch from Bates is a fastball that misses outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Take you through the defensive alignment here for the Gulls. Jason Gonzalez at third. Jack Blumgren, the shortstop. Jack Gethings plays second with Logan Harvey at first. Outfield left to right. Dylan Plouffe, Tim Tawa, and Stevie Mangrum. 1-0 pitch. That one is waved and missed for strike 1.
And I mentioned Austin Lively coming over to the team from the Brewster Whitecaps out in the Cape Cod League over the first couple of weeks. He, in 11 games, had 7 hits, but already in his first 3 games, he's 7 for 11, so...
Bates deals. That one chopped weakly down the first baseline. Mazza giving chase, but it was fouled off of his foot while Lively was still in the batter's box. So the count will move to 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Bates doing another good job getting ahead of these main hitters early on.
That was interesting because, you figured the umpire would have called it a little bit quicker as far as dead ball, but it was about halfway down the line before he did. Good job, though, by Lively on that kind of hit, tearing out of the box because you never know what's going to happen there. So sometimes you see guys, it is called fair, and then they're just standing there and they get tagged out. So at least you see a little effort coming out of the box, but now you got to protect with 2 strikes.
Definitely, and John Mazza was running down the first baseline. He wasn't sure either. Mazza has been very strong behind the plate. He threw out 8 runners at Northeastern this past spring. That was first on his team, and he's been doing that here for the Gulls so far this NECBL season. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball fouled off the screen behind home plate. Nice battle here from Lively.
And that's what he's done at the top of this lineup is even the 4 times he hasn't got on base, he's been able to work some walks, a couple of hit by pitch just for frustrating pitchers by making them throw a bunch of pitches early on in the game.
7 hits, but only 11 at-bats. 636. Here's the 1-2. That one misses low for ball 2.
And one of the more selective 2-strike hitters on this team as far as when he gets down into a count, it's very tough to get him out because of the fact he's looking and making sure you don't leave a mistake over the plate.
Aggressive team overall. 95 walks on the year. Mazza setting up inside. The pitch is fouled to the screen once more. So, Mike, you mentioned it. Battling. Able to see the ball well.
In the first inning, at the very least, you want to, make the guy throw some pitches as he got about a 6-pitch strikeout to start the game, but have the guys behind you, have them see a couple more of his repertoire there, and maybe they're up there swinging when they get up.
Bates winds and deals the 2-2, fouled into the netting once more down the third baseline. So you're right, and especially about halfway, a little over halfway through the NECBL season, so arms maybe getting a little bit more worn, and of course it's after their long season with their colleges, so.
Well, and every starting pitcher wants to come out and get into a groove early, so you keep fouling them off, you frustrate them a little bit.
Here's the break-even offering. It's a breaking ball. That one hit on the ground, stabbed by Bates. Underhands it to first, 2 gone.
And that's still a very good at-bat there, despite getting out there, as he just really made him throw a bunch of pitches, and that had Johnny Reiser, a guy that is looking to break out of a very, like when I say slump, I mean a very small slump, because he's been at the top of the lineup and ripping the ball all season long for the Mainers, but 0 for 5 the other night, not a typical Johnny Reiser night at the plate, so see a couple of pitches, see what he's got here.
Yeah, he's batting .325, 26 hits, 10 doubles, 4 home runs. Bats with 2 outs and takes a first pitch outside for ball 1.
And I expect Reiser to be a lot more selective tonight, as he was pretty aggressive the other night, got behind in some counts and frustrated him a little bit. So I would imagine he's going to be looking a little bit more at the pitches he can hit this evening.
Bates from the windup. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That one misses high and outside as well. Reiser is first on the team with 26 hits, first with 13 runs, and first on the team with 10 doubles. That is second in the NECBL.
Yeah, and he's a guy that when he hits the ball hard. Even a ground ball, it's not going to be a little cheap ground ball. It's going to be coming right at you.
Here's the 2-0 offering. That one, a ground ball right side, and it'll get through into right field. So the Mainers have their first base runner, and it's on the 2-out single from John Reiser.
And that's a typical Johnny Reiser at bat. Even if the first 2 guys get out, there's been about 7 or 8 times this season that he gets on with 2 outs in the top half of the first. And this man right here, Tyler Solomon, gets up and finds a gap somewhere to knock him home.
Reiser, a ton of speed out there, so we'll see. Obviously, with 2 outs, he's going to be going on contact, but of course, Solomon going to try to put a good at-bat here together.
5 home runs, first on the team for Tyler Solomon as he digs into the left-handed batter's box. Bates now working from the stretch, still no score, 1 on, 2 outs. First pitch misses low for ball 1. Solomon, a rising sophomore out of Vanderbilt.
And actually, he's transferring to Florida Southwest Junior College this season before heading back to the Division I ranks. But he leads the league in walks right now at 20.
Bates from the stretch. Here's the 1-0. Solomon thought about it, did not go, but the pitch was in there on the inside corner to even things up at 1-1. Dave Peck alongside Mike Lennon here on the NECBL Broadcast Network and 102.3 The Legends FM. Up in Maine. 1-2, and Reiser is off. The ball missed low, and it got away from Mazza, so no throw. That will be a stolen base there for Johnny Reiser.
And if you look at his stats, I mean, Johnny Reiser coming in this game had 9 stolen bases. That's number 10 right there, tied for the team lead with Shane Marshall, who is batting 5th tonight. So a lot of speed there, and now he puts himself in a good position for Tyler Solomon.
Now 38 stolen bases for the Mainers total. That is 7th in the NECBL. Newport, not a team that runs very much. They just have 13. That is last. Runner in scoring position here with 2 outs. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and it's fouled straight to the backstop.
And that's a swing that I'm sure Solomon wants back because that was probably ball 3 there, but now he's got to get up there and protect here with 2 outs. We mentioned in the pregame the 2 outs, runners in scoring position. That's been crucial for this Mainers team. So not always necessarily kill you in the first inning, but you got to at least start capitalizing on it at some point.
Batting 138 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, 1 home run, 21 RBI. Bates sets the glove at the chest. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and it's fouled straight back again. That one gets caught in the fence, and it gets a little cheer from the crowd here. A nice turnout at Cardines Field on a beautiful Wednesday evening here. Game 4 of this 7-game stretch for the Gulls. They had a game on Monday, a couple of games in that doubleheader against the Pilgrims last night. They'll head to Keene on Thursday, then they host the Waves on Friday, and then they'll go over to Danbury.
And this is game 1 of a 7-game stretch for the Mainers, so they got to get right into it.
2-2, breaking ball misses low and inside, so a full count here to Solomon, the first full count we've had in this ball game. Still no score, top of the first inning. Now he struck out, Lively grounded out to Bates, and then Reiser with the single. He stole second, now stands there. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and it's a breaking ball, waved and missed for strike 3. So Bates records his second strikeout of the ball game, and strands Reiser on second. Still no score as we head to the bottom of the first on 102.3, the Legends FM and the NECBL Broadcast Network. As we welcome you back to Cardines Field here, 77 degrees, 12-mile-per-hour winds, and no score in the bottom of the first inning. It'll be Tawa, Harvey, and Hosey leading things off against Matt Dockman.
Yeah, Matt Dockman out of Duke University, making just his second start here in the NECBL came into Duke as a reliever, came up here as a reliever, but wanted to try to get him a few starts. And in his first start, he went 2 innings against Winnipesaukee. He didn't give up a hit, no runs, and he struck out 3. So a good job in a couple of innings against Winnipesaukee. And then, of course, now getting his second start here. So a guy that just likes to lock right in and go, just like we saw Bates as far as between pitches, really no time spent. He's right back up on the mound and right to go through. So the only lefty starter that the Mainers have. So we'll see what he's got here tonight in his second start.
And against lefties, Newport is batting right around 250, 249 on the year compared to 293 against right-handed pitching. So Tim Tawa digs in for the first time today. Tawa batting .308, and he had his second home run of the season in Game 1 yesterday. It was a 2-run shot. First pitch from Dockman misses high for ball 1, and then he came up big in the top of the 7th inning. Newport down 3-2. It was just a 7-inning game, and he had the 2 RBI double. That one is lifted high, shallow left field. It's Bednar who settles under it, reaches up and makes the catch. 1 gone.
Yeah, that's always a pitcher's best friend. 2 pitches and a pop out to start the game. So a good start there. And just, again, Tawa getting a little bit underneath that one, obviously. Would maybe like to have that swing back, but a good job out there as far as a shortstop to let your left fielder know where that is, because that was a high fly ball.
Yeah, that one was up there for a long time. He got well under it. Here's Logan Harvey, first pitch, popped up, right side, but that will get foul. towards the stands, but it is into West Marlborough Street, the adjacent street here at Cardines Field, boxed in by America's Cup Avenue to the west and West Marlborough to the south. Here's the 0-1 pitch, breaking ball, popped up right side again, and that is out of play, so Dockman working quickly.
And that breaking ball to the outside corner on a right-handed hitter is tough, especially if it's on, because he starts it about midway through the left-handed batter's box, but has such late movement. The next thing you know, it's dipping in, so a little bit of a late swing there on that one.
And it exposes maybe the inside fastball as the 0-2 fastball misses high for ball one. You know, if you're a right-handed hitter and you're trying to tune into an off-speed pitch that's listing off the outside corner, you may be thinking that, and then all of a sudden he pumps you inside and you're a little bit hand-tied.
Exactly, and he does have some good speed on that fastball. Under a 1.2 ERA at Duke University, part of one of the better bullpens in the country for Duke University this season.
Dockman winds and deals this one. Popped up shallow in the middle of the infield, and it's second baseman Jonathan White who reaches up and makes the catch for out number 2. So a couple of easy pop-ups here. Dockman looking good.
Yeah, and that one not even making it out of the infield. And again, good job by White to keep track of that, because you see where the sun is coming in on your screen. For those of you at home, that sun coming in right over that third base line. So anybody on the side of the field is tough vision looking at that sun.
First pitch to Hosey is a breaking ball that stays high for ball one. Yeah, the shadows will move across the field from left to right, currently right around Shepard there at third base. But as the night goes on, they will cover the field. 1-0 pitch is lifted up. Right side of the infield in foul territory. Solomon, the first baseman, in foul territory. He's able to make the play, so Dockman works quickly. He gets Tawa, Harvey, and Hosey to pop out in order. Still no scores. We head to the top of the second inning right here on 102.3 The Legends FM and the NECBL Broadcast Network. Still no score here at Cardines Field. A nice shot of the nest over there down the right field line. Couple of fans enjoying a drink and watching some baseball. What better way to enjoy your Wednesday evening? Dave Peck alongside Mike Glennon. Match up between the Gulls and the Mainers.
It is a beautiful Wednesday night, that is for sure, and a welcome beautiful Wednesday night, especially after the stifling heat that has been around New England over the last couple of weeks. The last couple of games have been much more tolerable as far as being able to be playing and not have to worry about chewing the air because of the humidity.
You mentioned in Maine it usually gets cold at night, but
yeah,
not lately.
Not lately.
It'll be Marshall, Shepard, and White here. 5, 6, and 7 part of the lineup to face Bates. Looked sharp in the first inning. First pitch fastball misses high for ball one.
And Marshall's been one of those guys for the Mainers. You just can't take him out of the lineup. He's a very versatile guy, can play any outfield position. They've put him at first base a couple of times, but it's just been hitting line drives and getting on base. So, and when he gets on base, he has 10 stolen bases, so he's got some wheels too.
1-0 fastball catches the inside corner for strike one. Well, that's the thing, and it's a little bit unconventional for your 5-hitter to be a guy who can, maybe get on base and get into scoring position, make things happen, as that one is a dribbler. And it's fouled off the foot of Marshall.
That definitely hurts. I think that might even have caught him on the shin as he immediately went down on that one. So
it was hit weakly to Gonzalez there at third. But that's the second time we've seen that here early on in this game.
And, that always adds insult to injury because it's a foul ball and you get hurt on it. And it's just, it's a little bit. But as a hitter, Chris Moore is going to come down and talk to his guy there. But that's what, we were going back to talking about kind of placement in the lineup. And that's what head coach Chris Morris likes to do. He doesn't like to have a conventional lineup where all the talent's at the top and then not so much at the bottom. Love to have a couple of guys in the mid and in the bottom of the lineup to try to flip things over and get some run production going for this team. So,
well, especially in the NECBL, you're not necessarily scouting people. So you may see them for the first time. And they can sneak up on you. 1-1 breaking ball. Or 1-2 rather, is in there for strike 3. So the third strikeout of the ball game for Bates, and he gets Marshall looking on a front door curveball.
And of course, Marshall not a fan of that one on the inside corner there, but home plate umpire and talking to him after.
Bates has been sharp here.
And this is a guy right here, that Connor Shepard, that the Mainers would love to see get going. As far as started out hot and then kind of cooled off over the last couple of weeks, but just been getting underneath some baseball, so if he can start hitting them on the line, he's going to be very talented.
First pitch, he shows bunt, but it's right back to Bates, scoops it up, fires it to first, 2 down.
And interesting there, maybe trying to break yourself out of a little skid. You see the third baseman playing halfway back on the dirt. You try to lay down a bunt, but of course that one going a little bit too up the middle. Very easy play for Bates right there.
Yeah, it was just not great execution there. Gonzalez was pretty far back, and if he puts it down the third base line, he may have a shot. Even if he puts it down the first baseline, maybe drag bunt. He has a better shot, but that one right back at Bates makes the easy play. So 2 quick outs. Here is Jonathan White, rising senior at Presbyterian College. Bats for the first time in the right-handed batter's box. Mazza setting up outside. First pitch is swung on and missed.
He led the Big South Conference in hitting this season. He hit .378 at the plate, had 75 hits. So a guy that can definitely rope the ball and has been pretty consistent over the last couple of weeks for this Mainers team at just getting on base one way or another.
Here's the 0-1. It's a breaking ball that just misses inside. So 1 ball and 1 strike here to White. He's batting .125 in the last 5 games, just 1 hit and 8 at-bats. He does have 1 run scored. Bates winds and deals. That one lifted foul down the first baseline and out of play.
And one thing he's done a little bit better over the last couple of weeks is not pulling his head. A lot early on. It was really trying to rip the ball and break out of an early season skid. But ever since he's really been keeping his eye on the ball, he's been hitting the ball much better. I know just 125 over the last 5 games, but he's still a guy that has been consistent.
Here's the 1-2 offering. It's a breaking ball. This one turned on, line drive down the left field line, and it gets just foul. So it was a hanging breaking ball, but White could not straighten it out. He jumped all over it. It'll just be a long strike. Count will remain 1 ball and 2 strikes. He does have actually 5 runs scored in the last 5 games,
yep.
So he's found a way to get on base and be productive.
And that's the thing. It may not just be hits. He's got some walks and stuff like that. He's been hit by pitch a couple of times, but at the same time, especially towards the bottom of the lineup, at that point, just get on base and have the guys at the top, when you set the table for them, see what they can do for you.
Can certainly help here. He bats with 2 down, still no score in the top of the 2nd inning, just past the 7 o'clock hour here on the East Coast. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nobody on base. Bates takes a long look in, gets the sign for Mazza. Here's the 1-2 pitch, breaking ball, hit off the end of the bat, roller towards the first baseman Harvey, scoops it up, has to hustle the first, but tags the bag himself to retire. The Mainers 1-2-3 in the top of the 2nd. We'll head to the home half of the frame, still no score. Here on 102.3, the Legends FM and the NECBL Broadcast Network. Bottom of the 2nd inning, and that guy's certainly enjoying himself. He's got a lawn chair right out behind the right field fence. I see a blue can and a nice little moped, so finding ways to watch the baseball game here at Cardines Field, inside or outside the stadium, is something that the Newport folk here do very, very well.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do and then enjoy the time that you are. And as you mentioned, looks like that guy's definitely enjoying himself. So live it up.
It'll be Mangrum, Gonzalez, and Plouffe, 4, 5, and 6 part of the lineup. We'll take a quick look around the defensive lineman here for the Mainers.
Yeah, left to right in the infield, Connor Shepard at third base, Austin Lively at short, Jonathan White at second, and Solomon over at first. And left to right in the outfield, you got Randy Bednar, Shane Marshall, and Nick Howie.
First pitch to Mangrum is a breaking ball that drops in for strike 1.
And Mangrum, a very tough part of this Newport lineup. So interested to see in the first at-bat what kind of pitch selection he goes with.
He goes with a breaking ball again, and he gets Mangrum to swing over it for strike 2.
So obviously that answers the question. 2 straight breaking balls, reading the scouting report at least, and seeing what they can do to get out in front.
Been a very tough out this season. 0-2, this one another off speed, and it's fouled off the stanchion down the third base line there. So nice fight here from Mangrum, the rising senior out of Virginia Tech. He was drafted by the Red Sox back in 2015. So far this season, he's batting .342. That is 2nd for the Gulls this year. He's got 8 home runs. He had 2 in yesterday's game, too. 0-2 pitch, another breaking ball. That one hooking foul down the left field line and out of play.
Well, conveniently came back on the field, and a couple of his Virginia Tech teammates on the sideline for the Mainers with Connor Yoder and Dylan Hall in the bullpen. And, just talking to him about Mangrum, he said, yeah, that kid can tear the cover off the ball. And obviously he's been doing exactly that for the Gulls so far this season.
Yeah, very strong hitter, and he's had to kind of take the place of Cole Austin, who was very good early on for the Gulls. That one lifted foul off the netting. A few foul balls here. Mangrum staying alive. No balls and 2 strikes. So far this season as the leadoff man, he's batting .286. 21 at-bats. He's got 3 home runs and 2 walks. 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball misses low for ball 1, so we've seen pretty much all off speed here from Dockman.
Well, and again, that's a waste pitch because that at that point is just, hey, if you're going to try to get it, again, 4 straight foul balls as a pitcher, you're like, listen, if you're going to try to hit this, try to hit it. You know what I mean? So a good waste pitch there and still well in control of the count, but just got to make sure he's mixing it up well.
Mangrum trying to grind back into the at-bat. 1-2. That breaking ball misses just inside, so he's worked it to even now.
And that's tough because that was a similar pitch to what they called Shane Marshall on looking, but as a pitcher, again, you can't count on that strike zone staying consistent, so you got to get out there and just throw your game.
Bachman winds and deals. That fastball misses high, so after being down 0-2, Mangrum has worked the full count. Leadoff man here in the bottom of the second inning, still no score.
Again, regardless here, we talked about in the half inning with the Mainers, just make the guy throw some pitches because he didn't really throw a ton in that first inning. So
they went down 1-2-3 as the 3-2 just misses inside. Mangrum is on with a leadoff walk. So Dockman wasn't very far from the strike zone.
Well, again, comparatively speaking, I'm not sure where those two pitches missed, and comparatively speaking to what Shane Marshall got called out on, is that was really just right in on the letters on the inside corner and very similar spot. But again, as a pitcher, you can't just rely on a home plate umpire being consistent. You got to know there is human error in this game and just go out there and throw. So now you got a base runner on. Now you got to pay attention over at first.
It is Ben Wroblewski behind home plate here this evening. Bachman goes to check on Mangrum over there at first. Rather pedestrian attempt, but that's what you do early on.
And he does have a very good move as a lefty, or most lefties usually do, especially if they're playing at the Division I level. But a good move over there. But he does have to be careful because that's sun right in Tyler Solomon's eyes, so he's got to make sure where he puts the ball.
And he goes there again. This one a little picker, and he picks him off. So now we got a run down between first and second. It's Lively trying to run down Mangrum, and he gets the tag. Nice job there to put away Mangrum for out number one. Now nobody on.
And again, I told you he's got a good move. He's kind of got that double hitch to it. And he looks home, and the next thing you know, he's coming back at you. And Mangrum took one more step off of first base and just got caught up.
Yeah, and Lively showing off the wheels there. Had to go to the dive. It was close, but he got him. So there's one down here. Gonzalez still awaiting the first pitch. Here it is. It's a fastball that misses outside for ball one.
An interesting strike zone here early on, but at the same time, as a pitcher, you had a guy down 0-2, he walks on, and the next thing you know, you don't even throw a pitch and you get the guy out. So
1-0, this one laced to center field. Marcia going back, but he's able to settle under it for out number two. So it was hit strongly off the bat, but right at Marshall.
And a sight all too familiar for Mainers fans as far as hard-hit baseballs, but right at fielders, as, again, Marshall having to take maybe 1.5 steps back on that ball. So good job there by Dockman to get the pick off and then go right at the hitter and get him out now with 2 quick outs here.
Yeah, he has a chance for back-to-back 1-2-3 innings. Dylan Plew trying to change that here. Bats for the first time today. Washington State Cougar. That's from the left side and takes the first pitch, breaking ball for strike one. That one around the letters.
And it looks like kind of the inside corner on the upper half, really on lefties or righties at this point, is going to be there. So, but of course, you always have to be careful about leaving a pitch too far over the plate when you go inside like that.
0-2, another off-speed, misses high. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the consistency of the home plate umpire, but that's something that Newport has struggled with. And you mentioned you can't rely on human error.
Yeah.
You know it's going to happen, so you have to make an adjustment. But Plew was a victim of a ball that was basically in the dirt, and he struck out looking in yesterday's game. 1-1 fouled, left side out of play. It'll get into America's Cup Ave.
And and that's the thing. It is human error, and that's the point of having an umpire, is it does control the game as another person controlling the game. And as you mentioned, as a baseball player, you have to have a short memory, and you can't dwell on too many things. And so if you're going to get a strike call, and who knows, maybe you put the pitch there the next time and it's a strike. You never know. So you just got to keep pitching your game and get out of your head.
1-2 pitch, off speed, swung on and missed for strike three. So Dockman faces the minimum, gets his first strikeout of the ball game, and we still have no scores. We head to the third right here on the NECBL Broadcast Network in 102.3 The Legends FM.
Okay, Gulls fans, it's now time for our second game of the night.
Still no score at Cardines Field, but that's not stopping the fans from getting on top of the warehouse down the right field line there. Talk about creative places to watch a ball game, and a couple of kids there, no parent supervision needed. They're enjoying the Wednesday night themselves.
Well, it kind of reminds you of the old Wrigley Fields. I realize they've covered up a lot of them with the new scoreboard at Wrigley Field now, but kind of that same type feel as the young guys out there. And, hey, they got the bird's eye view, and they just got to be careful because there's no netting up that way.
Yeah, if there's a foul ball there that they may want to keep for a souvenir, they got to be careful because they may find themselves reaching over the warehouse. So welcome in Gully Jr. here, giving me the little massage in the booth. It's always good to have Gully here. At the top of the third inning, it'll be Zaberski, Bednar, and Howie to face Bates. First pitch is waved and missed, maybe foul tip into the glove, but strike one nonetheless.
And we joke about Josh Zaberski because he was with the Mainers early on in the season on a temporary contract, went away for a couple of weeks, and then came back when we lost Harrison Salter to injury. So just a 2-week-long off day, basically.
0-1 pitch, off speed, just misses outside. So 1 ball and 1 strike.
His first game back with the Mainers went 3 for 4 with a couple of ribbies. So a good welcome back to the team and just trying to get things started here in the third.
That's with nobody on, nobody out, 1-1. That fastball runs inside, 2 balls and 1 strike. So both pitchers have looked good, as advertised for the Mainers at least. For Newport, you know, it's good to see a fast start here from Bates. He's got to keep it up. It's been some big run innings against the Gulls that have hurt them. Nice pitch there on the 2-1 count. Catches the outer edge for strike 2.
Well, that's the thing, you know, for the Mainers, just trying to jump out early and trying to do something here. So a big inning would be more than welcome for the Mainers, that's for sure.
It's winds and deals, and that one misses inside. So a full count here. We talked about trying to work that pitch count up. 25 strikes, 14 balls so far for Bates. Almost at 40. Here's the 3-2. Fastball high, easy take. Zaberski is on. A leadoff walk, similar to Newport last inning.
Bates just trying to shave that beard off of Zaberski up there at the plate. High and inside, but a good job there because, you know, sometimes on a 3-2 pitch, a high inside fastball, especially to a right-handed hitter, they kind of maybe get a little bit free swing and just trying to protect. But a good job there by Zaberski to hold off of it and get on base at least for Randy Bednar here.
Second base runner of the ball game for the Mainers. The first one was that single from Reiser back in the first inning. First pitch to Bednar is a fastball lined into center field. That'll get down for a hit. Zaberski stops at second, and it's a no-out single for Bednar. Runners on first and second now.
And again, putting a guy like Bednar down in the lineup as over the first about 4 or 5 games he played with the Mainers, no hits. But then all of a sudden, he started to really see the ball well up at the plate, has changed a few things on his swing, has leveled it out as opposed to making it too much of an uppercut. And he's been seeing the ball on line drives, find places just like that. A good piece of hitting, first pitch he sees, he goes right back up the middle with a good line drive.
And just like that, the Mainers have something going here with nobody out.
And don't be surprised if you see a bunt here, especially at the top of the lineup with a guy like Nick Howie. But Chris Morris loves to play small ball.
Now he struck out his first time up. Yeah, we saw that one. And Marshall tried to lay and he does lay the bunt down. This one right side, scooped up by Bates. Jogs to first, then underhands it to Harvey for out number 1, but he does the job, moves the runners up 90 feet. Now.
Well, again, a beautiful sack bunt there, doing exactly what you need to do at the top of the lineup. You move 2 guys over, especially for a guy like Lively, that even a ground ball to the right side now scores the first run of the game, so you don't necessarily need a rope into the gap to score your first run if you well-executed bunt. And just a good job to go with the pitch there, not to pull it back the other way, make the pitcher go to first with it.
Mainers batting 186 with runners in scoring position here, but they have Austin Lively. Counted out his first time up, swings at the first pitch, but fouls it straight back for strike 1.
And right now, anyway, you have the right guy up in the order as far as to get a run home. The way he's been hitting early on for the Mainers, of course, Johnny Reiser right behind him, and with only 1 out here, Reiser at least going to get a chance probably. But at the same time, Lively's been that guy so far over the last couple of games.
Infield creeping in a little bit. 0-1 misses high. We've seen. When Newport's brought the infield in, it hasn't necessarily been that successful. That's kind of what you risk, but especially the Pilgrims and the ways before that, getting hits that have gone through the holes and, you know, maybe if they were playing straight up would not have gotten through. 1-1 misses outside, so 2 balls and 1 strike here to Lively.
And it is interesting to see this early on in a ball game too, but I think it's one of those things that both of these teams, let's be honest, have struggled when they get behind early on. So both teams trying to take measures to say, hey, we're not just going to surrender a run easily, and that's what I'm talking about. A short little ground ball now, not a guaranteed run anymore, with Zaberski over there at third base, not exactly the fastest guy in the team. So not a bad strategy here, and especially with only 1 out.
And it can turn into something else too. You know, you see an infield hit that's very frustrating, and that can kind of get to a pitcher.
Exactly, yep.
So we'll see what Bates can do here as he works from the stretch. 1 out, runners on second and third. 2-1 pitch. Fastball taken for strike 2. Right around the knees there to Lively.
And that looked like Lively was taken the whole way on that pitch because the bat never even broke off of his shoulder there. So, but now all of a sudden he's down 2 strikes. He's got to protect here.
Strikeout would be big. Bates has 3 through 2 1/3 innings. Comes to the set, takes a long look in, nods the head, high leg kick. Here's the 2-2, and it's fouled off the screen down the third base line.
Yeah, this is one of those at-bats you at least got to put a ball in play. Whether it's a ground ball, fly ball, the outfield, you got to put a ball in play here because a strikeout, I realize Reiser did it with 2 outs before, but that's not a guarantee, and you have the first 2 runs of the game standing 90 and 180 feet away. You got to get something here in this inning.
Still no score here, top of the third inning. Bednar on second, Zaberski on third. Still 1 out. Bates takes a long look in, gets the sign from Mazza. Here's the break-even offering. Fastball high and outside.
That's a good job there by Lively to hang off, and that sometimes when you're a hitter in a groove, you're going to lay off those pitches. Sometimes if you're struggling, you're starting to swing at those high outside fastballs, especially to a left-handed hitter. That's a tough one to lay off, but a good job there to at least make it a full count here.
Especially if you've been striking out a lot.
Yes, yep.
Become a little bit more aggressive, start chasing. Here's a 3-2 pitch, breaking ball chopped right side, foul. And we'll reset and do it again. So a nice fight here from Lively.
And a good job to at least get a bat on ball there because that was a pretty good breaking ball down and in on the hands that really kind of locked him up a little bit, and he was way out in front, but a good job to at least put a piece on it and stay alive.
That's exactly what you want to do because if that one was fair, you know, you hit it to either Harvey or Gonzalez there at the corners.
Yeah.
And Zaberski's not necessarily going to be able to score from third. The 3-2. Fastball, that one fouled off the very end of the bat, in and out of Mazza's glove. So an opportunity there, but Mazza can't cash in. Would have been a tough play, and Lively has some life.
And that can be frustrating for a catcher and a pitcher, really, as far as that stuff's concerned. But as a hitter, you got to see it as, okay, I got new life. That was very likely should have been strike 3. So now you got to come up there, protect, and at least put bat on ball, put this ball into play some way or another.
Here's the 3-2 pitch again, and that one's fouled off the screen right behind home plate.
And this will be the 10th pitch of this at-bat, so he's working it to see if he can actually get something going. This, of course, always more frustrating for the pitcher than it is for the hitter.
The hitter feels like he's in control.
Yeah.
Doing a good job fighting off some tough pitches, especially that curveball. Making Bates reset and do it again. The pitch, waved and missed for strike 3, so Bates wins the battle, his 4th strikeout of the night, and there are 2 down here in the third.
And again, that's been a struggle for the Mainers with less than 1 out, runners in scoring position, and not able to bring anybody home. You got a guy like Johnny Reiser up here, but that puts a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Got a rope single the first time around, but of course nobody on, had to lead off the inning, but now you got 2 runners out there, you start to think a little bit more as a hitter.
This would be a big spot. Reiser 182 with runners in scoring position, 2 outs. He does have 4 RBI. Where's the pitch? Fouled into the netting for strike 1. A lot of foul balls here at Cardines Field early on between the Gulls and the Mainers.
Luckily, most of them staying in the field of play, so not losing too many baseballs yet.
Netting doing its job, and also the ones that were, maybe skipped down the left field line, those have popped back into play somehow.
Yeah, I know.
Not sure if it's been a fan or hitting off some metal rod or something, but save maybe $4. What is it for a pearl? Who knows these days?
It's over $3, so not cheap.
There's the 0-1 pitch from Bates. It's a breaking ball in there for strike 2. Reiser thought about it. He saw his right leg go up, but didn't really move the bat, and he's quickly behind 0-2. Zaberski led off with the walk. He's on third. Bednar singled. He now stands on second. Howie moved him over with the sacrifice bunt, then Lively struck out. In a long at-bat, went over 10 pitches. Now Bates trying to get out of the jam, one pitch away. Here's the 0-2. Fastball misses high.
Again, that's one of those waste pitches up and away there on a left-handed hitter. You're up 0-2 in the count, and he hasn't really put good contact on a ball as of yet in this count. So try to see if you can't get him chasing here, especially in a big spot like this.
Lights are on at Cardines Field. Pretty much the entire field covered in shadow now. Maybe some cloud coverage there to the west. 2 on, 2 outs. 1-2 pitch from Bates. Misses outside. He was up early now. Reiser has worked himself into a 2-2 count.
And a guy that, again, for the first time in a game, struck out more than twice yesterday. So not yesterday, excuse me, Monday, but not his typical game. So I'm sure he's trying to avoid strikeouts as much as possible, but still in control of the count is Bates.
Johnny Reiser, the number 3 hitter here, as that one is chopped foul towards the Mainers dugout, and I believe that caught.
It did catch Tyler Solomon.
Yeah, on deck, so he's choosing not to take his warm-up swings near the Newport dugout. He stays in front of the Mainers dugout, and then he finds a foul ball off the foot.
Yeah, and that's tough, especially do not want to see him get hurt, and that just stings like crazy right there.
Not a lot of foul territory, a little bit more down the right field line or the first base line rather than in left or third. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Curveball misses low and inside. Nice stop there from Mazza, but it'll be back-to-back full counts. This is the third full count of the inning.
Well, he worked his way out of the last one. Of course, the other one was a walk, but worked his way out of the last one, the strikeout, and just kind of went right at the hitter.
First base is open. Tyler Solomon on deck, the cleanup hitter in today's lineup. 2 on, 2 outs, top of the third. Here's the 3-2, and it's a breaking ball that misses just low for ball 4. So the second walk of the inning, second walk of the night for Bates, and now Sanford has the bases loaded for Tyler Solomon.
That's 2 good at-bats. We've seen a walk drawn here tonight, that being one of them. Keep the inning going with 2 outs. Now Tyler Solomon stepping up. Again, a guy that definitely strikes out, but he can earn a walk too. Tyler Solomon leads the league right now in walks drawn at 20. And a walk here obviously brings the first run home, but I'm sure he would love to put one into play, and now a timeout coming.
Yeah, Kevin Winterroad coming out to try and talk things over here with Bates, but bases loaded for Newport pitching has been a problem. They've been able to work out of it. Look back to game 1 against Plymouth, back when Tyler Madison was on the hill. Max Fowler reached on an error, then Madison hit a guy, and then there was a ground ball single, but he was able to work out of it, something that Newport does particularly well, but you can't rely on that. It's not sustainable, and it puts yourself in very tough situations. It puts yourself in very close games, and you have a guy like Nate Ryder. Yes, you can certainly compete late in ball games, but it can get tough, especially as people come and go. We're getting later on in the season. Number of innings are getting up. Certain people have a cap on how much they're allowed to pitch in summer ball.
Yeah, you're right. And, you don't want to keep putting yourself into a position where even if you get out of it, it's still taking a lot out of you emotionally as a pitcher. Just taxes you trying to get out of these type of situations. So this is a big inning, although still early in this game. This is a big spot here for both teams.
Bases loaded, 2 outs. Here's Tyler Solomon. Takes a first pitch low for ball 1. Still no score, top of the third inning.
And what you want to see from Solomon here, you don't need a guy that's very capable to bring everybody home with one swing of the bat. But at this point, just put a good swing on it and find some outfield grass and bring home the first 2 runs of this game.
1-0 pitch, fastball high. Easy take from Solomon. Now he's in control here, 2-0, and trouble for Bates, nowhere to put him.
And Solomon, a guy that has the green light all the way through, so 2-0, 3-0 doesn't matter if a pitch is in the zone. Hey, Coach Chris Morris telling him to rip away. Just don't want to get underneath one here.
Cleanup hitter with the bases loaded, 2 outs. 2-0 pitch, check swing on the high fastball, and he did not go, said Will Bowers. So 3 balls and no strikes.
And that's always a tough call to try to check down to a second base umpire, because there's very rarely that they're going to have a angle that's going to be better than the home plate umpire on that type of scenario.
Yeah, it's more of a formality at that point, but pretty clear he did not go. 3-0 pitch, misses outside, so Solomon walks, and that walks in the first run of the ball game as Zaberski touches home plate. It's 1-0 Mainers.
Well, it's one of those things. Solomon, I guess he'll take the RBI in whatever way you can get it. So
That's not what you want. Zaberski led off with a walk, and he comes in on the walk to Solomon.
And really, again, the only hit of this inning was the single back up the middle by Bednar. So other than that, it's been walks.
Yeah, 2 hits for the Mainers, no hits for the Gulls so far in this game. First pitch to Marshall, misses inside.
And I think you can see Bates kind of shortening up a little bit on his delivery and just kind of short-arming the ball a little bit. So falling behind in some counts that he should be getting ahead of here.
Definitely doesn't help for a pitching staff that's already struggling. 1-0 high for ball 2. Coming in with a 5.99 ERA. That is second to last in the league, second to last in runs allowed. Now Harvey jogging in to give him, a little pep talk here. Harvey's a guy, one of the veterans on this team. We've said it before, but sometimes it can help just, knowing you have your teammates behind you.
At the very least, it gives him a second to take a deep breath before he has to toe the rubber again. So even if you go out there and you're just messing around with him, joking around, you at least give him a second to collect his head and forget the first 2 pitches and just go right back at the hitter.
And realize that he's not the only one out there.
Yeah.
2-0 pitch. Fastball runs well inside and almost hit Marshall.
And again, just has lost really all control of the strike zone over the last 2 hitters. But if you're Marshall, you're taking this pitch the entire way because he's thrown 7 straight balls. So another ball here brings in another run. So at this point, you just take it. Even if it's right down the middle, he's still got to bring you 2 more.
Still 2 outs in the inning here. 1 run across already. Mainer's on the verge of 1 more. But it won't come on that pitch as the fastball is in there at the knees for strike 1.
And that's a good pitch. And I'd be surprised if he doesn't try to go back there on that outside corner because, one, you don't put it in the happy zone for a right-handed hitter. You got to make him go out and get it. But catching that outside corner here.
3-1. That one on the outside corner, chopped up the middle. Shortstop Lundgren's able to glove it and tag second for the force. But the Mainers are able to get 1 run off just 1 hit and 2 walks. They leave the bases loaded, but they have the lead as we head to the home half of the 3rd right here on 102.3 The Legends FM and the NECBL Broadcast Network. As welcome you back here to Cardines Field. Mainers score the first run of the ball game on the bases loaded walk by Tyler Solomon. They lead it 1-0. We'll send it over to Newport Gulls field reporter Joe DeLeon for a look around the league.
Thank you, Dave. As far as the game's going on right now, the Plymouth Pilgrims hold a 3-2 lead over the Mystic Schooners at the bottom of the 3rd. In the top of the 4th inning, the Upper Valley Nighthawks have a small 2-0 lead over the Keene Swamp Bats. Danbury Westerners are down big already, top of the 2nd. Ocean State Waves have a 6-2 lead, already 4 runs. Then the Vermont Mountaineers hold a 1-0 Winnipesaukee lead. And then that is in the bottom of the 4th. And then finally, the Valley Blue Sox are tied at 0 in the bottom of the 3rd against the North Adams Steeplecats. Back to you, Dave.
Thank you, Joe. It'll be Blumgren, Mazza, and Gethings, 7-8-9. First pitch from Dockman catches the outside corner for strike 1. That's a nice spot, a nice way to start. He's faced the minimum so far.
Yeah, and you're right. It was a very good pitch there. He does have a lot of 2-seamer movement on his fastball, especially to right-handed hitters that just dips out and away, almost like a sinker ball.
There's the 0-1, and it's a breaking ball, waved and missed for strike 2. Blumgren was nearly brought to his knee there.
And when you're in control of a game early on, that's the kind of stuff that you got because you just kind of really get inside a hitter's head and they're not sure what you're bringing at them.
Newport really hasn't had an answer so far. 0-2 pitch, check swing on the changeup outside. They check down to Tyler Bullock, but he did not go around.
And that was a good pitch there, down and away. He obviously thought about it, did Blumgren, but a good job to at least hold up as that was a ball.
Blumgren has a couple of hits. Late comer. 1-2, breaking ball, misses just outside again, so 2 balls and 2 strikes. Blumgren started the summer in the Northwoods League with the Madison Mallards. A couple of nice franchises he's been a part of here in the summer.
Coming a little bit farther east.
There's the 2-2, and that one is in there for strike 3. A delayed call from Roblewski, but he rings him up for out number 1, the second strikeout of the ball game for Dockman.
Maybe had to think about that for a second, but strikeout nonetheless. Back-to-back strikeout for Dockman. So he's got that pitch working. You saw Zaberski point right back out to him and say, that's a nice spot. Keep bringing it right there. So
yeah, it was a nice pitch for sure. And, Blumgren was a little bit tied up there because he'd been going outside so many times. First pitch to Mazza, chopped foul down the third baseline for strike one.
Well, especially for a guy like Dockman who's used to coming out of the pen, so if he can get into a groove early on, he's pretty unhittable, but it's one of those things that as relievers sometimes do, they go and they kind of ebb and flow depending on what their first inning looks like.
0-1 inside-out swing. Weak line drive, fielded on the hop by first baseman Solomon. It's Dockman covering first to tag the base, and there are two down. A nice little 3-1 put out there for the infield of the Mainers.
And that's a good job because sometimes on a line drive like that, a first baseman will hold up on it, but that knuckled back towards the first baseman. So if Jonathan White was the only one going after that, that's probably an infield single. And a good job by Dockman just to run over, soft little throw, step on first. That looks pretty.
And, Dockman has a lefty. He's falling away from first base, so he's got to recoil. He's got to go all the way back. And for Solomon, that's a ball that's not hit truly at all, so it can have a lot of English on it, and he was able to glove it. So a nice 3-1 play. Always pretty when those are executed. Two quick outs. Gethings swings through the first pitch for strike one.
It's always beneficial, though, when your first baseman's 6'5", so the wingspan is a little bit more there on the having to reach back to his left, but you're right, a good play to stay in front.
Definitely helps. One misses high. 1 ball and 1 strike here to Gethings. Bats for the first time today. Bottom of the third inning. 1-0 Mainers on top. After Solomon walked and plated Zaberski.
And Solomon leading the league in walks, that being his 21st in the top half of this inning. So a guy that has been patient.
Dockman winds and deals. Breaking ball. Just a little bit outside, but a nice pitch. 2 balls and 1 strike here to Gethings. Gethings batting .296, just fell below the 300 mark. 24 hits, 4 doubles, a triple, a home run, and 11 RBI. 2-1 misses well high and outside, so 3 balls and 1 strike.
And Dockman, it's funny, Dockman's a very quiet guy. I guess you could say a little bit on the shy side. Has opened up immensely over the last couple of weeks, but just a very calm, cool, collected guy. And just finishing up his freshman year at Duke, that's what you want to see out of a relief pitcher.
3-1, nice breaking ball, drops in for strike 2. Yeah, and especially early on, you don't know many of the guys.
Exactly.
So you could be
and he did join a little bit late, so.
Exactly. So joined a little late, didn't know the guys. Maybe they already have a relationship, as that one misses high for ball 4. So Gethings extends the inning with a 2-out walk. But, the first thing you want to do when you show up, not only if you're, showing up from June 1st, but if you're a little late, earn the respect of your teammates because that's how you get comfortable. And the way he's been doing it here and as of late, he's certainly done that. But that's when you start to see a lot of guys open up, feel a little bit more comfortable, around their teammates. It helps to have a guy from your school with you. Sometimes that's the case, but.
And again, he was playing in the Super Regional, had some good outings in the Super Regional for Duke this year.
He goes to first. You see that double look. First to the plate and then back to first. Gethings is not fooled. He dives back safely.
And, he was called for a balk on that in his first appearance, and it was one of those things where it was such a good move that it fooled the runner so bad that it was almost like the umpire said, well, that has to be a balk. So
fooled the umpire as well, I guess. First pitch to Tawa. Changeup misses low for ball 1. Tawa flew out to Bednar in shallow left field his first time up to start off the bottom of the first inning.
He only saw 2 pitches, so he's going to want to hang in there a little bit longer unless he finds something he likes here.
Light kick from Dockman goes to the plate and jams up Tawu, fouls it behind the grandstands out of play. Only 2 base runners so far in this game for the Gulls. Mangrum was able to work a walk, but then he was picked off from the nice move from Dockman, and now Gethings with the walk. And he was checked on the first time, but dove back safely. Long pause, 1-1 pitch, breaking ball, that one laced to Hopper, diving by Shepard, gets up and doesn't have a throw as he loses it on the transfer. See what they want to rule out. That'll be a single for Tim Tawu. Certainly hit hard, would have been a tremendous play from Shepard, but Newport has a little something going with 2 outs.
Yeah, and that's a heck of a play there because if not, that's at least down the line. And Bednar, a very quick fielder, but that may have skipped in towards the corner. So a good job there to stab it out and just lost it on the transfer because he did have to get up pretty quick and try to get that over to second base. Lost on the transfer, but a good play to at least keep it. And now the guy at second base can't advance past.
Yeah, it had some topspin on it, so if it did get past, it was hooking left towards the bullpen area. That's an automatic double based on the ground rules here at Cardines. So Tawa on first, Gethings on second, still 2 down. Here's Logan Harvey. Popped out to White, the second baseman back in the first. First pitch waved and missed for strike 1.
And that was definitely a hittable fastball there, but you saw Harvey just kind of pull his head a little bit at the end of that swing, so.
Didn't seem fully committed to it. Bachman working from the stretch, trying to work through this inning. Long pause. Here's the 0-1. Another swing and a miss.
And that was almost a circle change there on the outside, just changing up speed. Same exact spot, just same arm angle, just took about maybe 7, 8, 9 miles an hour off of that pitch, and it was enough to fool him. So now he's got a 0-2 count. Big pitch here for Dockman.
Yeah, and Harvey has seen both, but you never know what Dockman's going to try and go to here. Looks like Zabrinski is setting up outside. Another long pause. Here's the 0-2. It is outside, and it's waved and missed for strike 3. So Harvey goes down on 3 pitches. It's the 3rd strikeout of the ball game for Dockman, and he strands 2 runners on. Still 1-0. Mainers on top as we head to the 4th inning right here on 102.3 The Legends FM and the NECBL Broadcast Network. Top of the 4th inning, 1-0 Mainers. Fans enjoying the ball game. We'll send the play-by-play over to the voice of the Sanford Mainers, Mike Glennon. Mike?
Yeah, good ball game here so far. 1-0 in favor of the Mainers, coming on a 2-out bases-loaded walk to Tyler Solomon, who picked up his leading, I should say. Man, easy for me to say. 21st walk and an RBI. And now it'll bring up Connor Shepard here to start things out in the top half of the 4th. Here at Cardines Field.
Well, we mentioned 233 average,
yeah.
Last in the NECBL, but finding a way.
Well, that's the thing.
This is why they're 3rd in the North.
And 2 outs and runners in scoring position. It didn't look like that was actually going to happen. Is it? Some good pitching by Josh Bates, but it did. And now Connor Shepard steps up, takes the first pitch in low for strike number 1. We saw Shepard a little unusual, a square around for a bunt with 1 out last time he was up, just trying to catch the 3rd baseman napping. But it just went right back to the pitcher as the 2nd pitch comes in here. That ball too far on the way, though, and evens count up at 1-1.
Yeah, he's gone off speed twice here. He was able to locate it on the first pitch, but that one just a little bit outside. Obviously, balls and strikes. 40 strikes, 30 balls here for Bates.
And he will bring the 1-1 home here. That ball up and away makes it 2-1. And really, despite the bases loaded jam last inning and the 1 run coming home, he worked his way out of it. He did what he needed to do, got the unassisted play out there at shortstop, some help from his defense maybe, but that's what you need in those type of positions. You don't just need to shoulder the whole thing yourself. The 2-1, that ball popped up, fouled out of play. We'll even the count up at 2-2 as Shepard a little bit frustrated with himself on that swing.
Yeah, it's all about limiting, and 1 run is not a big deal. Yes, you don't want to be in that situation. You never want to walk or run in, but not a huge deal in the scheme of things. You had to score anyways,
sure.
So to be able to get out of that, still successful there from Bates, and still something that he can, take pride in.
And he has a 2-2 count here to Connor Shepard as he's looking to get the first out of the inning, and the pitch comes home. Grounded through the legs into the dugout of the Newport Gulls, heads up down there. And that'll keep the count at 2-2 here, so buying himself another pitch is Connor Shepard. Of course, way out in front of that one as it skipped between his legs there.
Yeah, just wasn't keeping his hands inside.
And the 2-2 will come home once more. That ball into the dirt. He checks swing, looked down. No, he did not, and that'll make the count full. And Connor Shepard, just like every Texas Christian University guy on this lineup for the Mainers, very deliberate getting back into the box. He takes a deep breath, checks the bat, gets back in. And again, if the umpire's giving it to you, might as well take it.
Newport with no hitters from TCU, a couple of arms.
The 3-2 fouled out of play, staying alive again here. So, again, after a long inning in the last half inning for Bates, already coming up on the 9th pitch of this at-bat here. 8th pitch, I should say, of this at-bat here.
Already north of 70 pitches, and we're just 3 innings into it here for Bates.
See if he can do something here with the 3-2 count as he brings it home to Connor Shepard. Strike 3 called on the lower outside corner. As Shepard thought it was ball 4, it ended up being strike 3. And now that's 5 strikeouts through the first 3 1/3 for Josh Bates. And that'll bring up Jonathan White, I should say. Excuse me, Jonathan. As he will hit here for the second time. Grounded out over to the first baseman to end the top half of the second. And he steps up now with 1 out in the top of the 4th. That's a good count right there for Josh Bates to get out of that with the strikeout. First pitch up and in, ball number 1 to Jonathan White.
Yeah, to walk the leadoff man for the second consecutive inning would have been, here we go again, but that's huge. It was the breaking ball that bailed him out.
So the 1-0 comes home to White. That ball, strike called low and outside for strike number 1. So the zone starting to expand a bit down below the knee, as that was not there through the first couple of innings. But the home plate umpire starting to expand his zone a little bit, and it's 1-1 here on Jonathan White. That ball fouled straight back, and it makes it 1-2.
And pitchers need to know that. Hitters need to know it, but pitchers also need to know that. You can get away with some.
Again, if you can freeze a hitter, the pitcher's best friend there. So the 1-2 here, as Bates looking to get a 1-2-3 inning here for the Gulls to get their guys back up in the bottom of the 4th. The 1-2, curveball ripped down the left field line, plenty of distance to it, but plenty foul as well, and it'll keep the count at 1-2.
Second time we've seen a hanging inside breaking ball from Bates that the Mainers have really jumped on and pulled well far down the left field line.
And both times have been Jonathan White, so
you wonder if he's going to go low and outside here. You know, you see that a couple of times, and maybe you try and change it up and get him out on his front foot.
Well, he got him on earlier strike in this count as he brings the 1-2 home again and actually plunks him. And that'll send Jonathan White down on a 1-2 count to first base with a hit by pitch.
Yeah, and that's just very unfortunate there. Up ahead 1-2. Mazza was setting up low and outside, and he just completely missed his spot.
So Josh Zaberski going to step into the plate here as he led off the top half of the 3rd with that walk and was brought around on the 2-out bases loaded walk that Tyler Solomon drew. And now he steps up with a runner at first base here in the top half of the 4th and only 1 out. And that a curveball that just didn't curve as it came in and hit the inside of the thigh of Jonathan White. Lead off to first. First pitch comes in, out and away, ball 1.
Mazza tried to pull it back, though, but it was a good margin outside. Just 2 hits for the Mainers, 1 for Newport.
Yeah, so really the base runners have come largely via the walk. As it's 1-0 here. Pitch comes home. Up and in, almost catches Zaberski that time and makes it 2-0.
You wonder if there's any action in the bullpen now. Already around 80 pitches here. And there is. It's Mike Kirian out of Louisville starting to warm up. And Mainer's got a guy as well.
Yeah, Angelo Smith up down there. So a couple of lefties, 1 for either side. And now a timeout called. We'll see if they decide to go to the bullpen here.
Yeah, Mike Coombs coming out. Looks like this is going to be the evening for Bates.
And especially an interesting call because it's a 2-0 count. But just wanting to maybe nip it in the bud here is, again, over the last couple of innings, Josh Bates has lost a little bit of the strike zone and was able to get out of a base-loaded jam on a ground out. So still, though, a hard-hit ball. Looks like Coombs, though, just talking to him for the time being. So I think this is the conversation of, hey, listen, we need you to go this one more inning, get out of it. Don't let any runs come home because we don't want to go to the bullpen just yet. But at the same time, you also want to make sure that you don't let a game get out of hand early on. So,
I mean, part of the problem for Newport is you're playing so many games in such few days, and it's a bullpen now that's already becoming depleted. Augie Milbauer gone. Gavin Sullivan no longer able to go. He will be gone soon. So David Steele is also hurt. So guys are starting to, be worn down, and this is a very long meeting, one of the longest we've seen. Looks like Coombs is just trying to will Bates here.
I was going to say, actually, I believe they are going to the bullpen now as he did raise his left arm, so I think that was just to give his guy a few more warm-up pitches. Having to come in early, so we do have a pitching change for the Gulls as we will take a break real quick here on the NECBL Broadcast Network and 102.3 The Legends FM. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Cardinals Field. Pitching change in store for the Gulls here as Mike Kirian takes them out. And what do you got on him here?
Yeah, Kirian, rising sophomore out of Louisville, 6'6", 240. The lefty, a little bit of a late coming here to Newport. 0-1 record, 6.75 ERA in 5 games. Just 6 2/3 innings pitched, giving up 13 hits, walked 4, and struck out 9. His last appearance came in that 17-1 beatdown where the Ocean State Waves came in and bullied the Gulls. He went 2 innings, gave up 5 runs, 3 of which were earned off 5 hits, 4 walks, and 1 strikeout. He's looking for a bounce-back outing here, and he's going to be asked a lot. He's only gone 2 max, and that was the longest he went in that Ocean State game, but only in the 4th inning with just 1 out. A depleted bullpen and a long stretch ahead of him. Mike Coombs needs some good stuff here from Kirian.
Yeah, and always interesting, especially for a reliever to come out not with a fresh count. He comes in already down 2-0 in the count, but of course Mike Coombs seeing enough from Josh Bates and didn't want anything to get too out of control. Because as we mentioned, Josh Bates just losing the strike zone a little bit over the last couple of half innings. So goes to the bullpen here, see if it pays off for him as, again, he will face Josh Zaberski here, who was up and has a 2-0 count. So always a little bit interesting when you have to come out of the pen right away and you're already down.
Yeah, it's something we actually saw for the Pilgrims in Game 2 against the Gulls yesterday. It was Eaton who came in, and he was just walking guys. You can tell when pitchers don't necessarily have it, and they just didn't take him out. And I remember their broadcaster was saying to me, he was questioning, why is he not coming out? Why is he not coming out? Walked 2, and then they went to the bullpen. They brought in Josh Easton, but by that time it was too late.
Well, and again, that's one of those things that you leave him in a couple of batters too late. And as you mentioned, though, wants to see a lot out of his reliever here in Mike Kirian, especially with the amount of games you guys have coming up. It's the same thing for the Mainers. Mainers starting off a 7-game stretch here over the next 6 days. So don't want to go to the bullpen too early and too often. So it's 2-0 here, and the first pitch going to come home. That ball misses inside, so now it's 3-0 here as opposed to just being 1-0.
And walks were a problem for Kirian, 4 in just 2 innings. His last outing.
Deep breath from Kirian brings the 3-0 home. That one is called a strike, and that was down about mid-shin as Zaberski was about halfway down the base path. But he'll have to come back here with a 3-1 count.
Have a quick conversation with Wroblewski there, just trying to see where that was at, if it's going to be called like that the whole night.
And I've always said that if you're already halfway down the base path, more than likely you're going to get rung up on a call. So the 3-1, that ball squibbed off the end of the bat. That's going to be a broken bat. It's basically going to work as a bunt and move that runner up to scoring position. However, there is 2 outs now, and that'll bring up Randy Bednar.
That was if Kirian was a righty, he would have possibly had a chance to get that. What you saw, he falls to his right, and then he has to kind of repivot, but a nice play by Gethings coming in. Very quick transfer, very smooth there from the Fairfield staff.
Well, and again, despite the maybe lack of speed by Zaberski, that ball not hit hard at all. In fact, maybe a bunt would have even been hit harder there.
Yeah.
But a good job by the second baseman for awareness to come in and grab that. So it's a runner in scoring position now with 2 outs, and that brings up Bednar, 1 for 1 on the day. As that pitch hits the outside corner for strike number 1. So as we mentioned, home plate umpires' zone starting to expand, especially lower and outside. So we'll keep an eye on that as far as the pitching staffs are concerned.
Also, when you're 6'6" on the mound, it's definitely hard to get ones like that. You got to reach way down.
That ball ripped down the left field line, had a ton of distance on it, but just out in front was Bednar. So just a very long strike there, and it's quickly 0-2. And Bednar does have a 2-run homer with 2 outs. Last week he hit it against Winnipesaukee.
Against lefties, Sanford batting .234.
As the 0-2 comes home, that ball popped up. Playable down there for the first baseman. It's going to be a long run, see if he gets over there. But instead, it does find its way with enough on it to get out of play, so it'll remain 0-2 here.
Very quirky over there. You have the tarp, you have the bar there, the Gull's Nest, you have the scoreboard, the warehouse.
Lots to keep an eye on.
The flagpole as well, so.
And then you look down the left field line, not a ton of room at all as far as between the left field line and the out of play. So
you have both
much
teams,
different than Goodall Park, that's for sure.
Both teams warming up at the same spot here at Cardines.
So the 0-2 once more. Out and away will make it 1-2 here.
Not a bad pitch, just don't want to make a mistake.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is leave that fastball up over the zone. So if you're going to miss with it, miss out. So it's 1-2 here on Randy Bednar with 2 outs here in the top half of the 4th. Mike Kirian just trying to come on and get out of this. Got the ground ball. It did move up the runner into scoring position, but it did get the second out of the inning despite coming in down 2-0 in the count. As this one comes home, that ball misses outside and evens the count up at 2-2 here.
Again, being very careful.
Again, that was obviously a lot closer than the first pitch he missed on, but with the way the umpire's zone's been expanding, that's not a bad pitch at all.
It's kind of got a 2-seam movement to it, so it started out and ended even a little further.
So the 2-2 curveball does not curve enough, and he hangs it up outside as the count is now full. So 0-2 count worked into a full count here. Kirian, though, just trying to keep the base runner from coming around.
And a walk isn't the worst thing. It's not ideal, but it's not the worst thing with 2 outs.
That pitch misses low and outside, and that is ball 4 here with 2 outs. So that'll make it first and second here. A hit by pitch puts the first runner on, and now a walk makes it first and second. And we flip back to the top of the lineup with Nick Howie. who has a strikeout and a sack bunt last time up. But, of course, he'll be fully swinging away here with 2 outs.
4 walks and a hit by pitch. Just 2 singles in the game.
It'll kill you. It'll come back and get you, unfortunately, and that's just the way baseball goes. But
I mean, it's putting yourself in tough situations. Yeah. That's all it is.
As the first pitch comes into Howie, fouled straight back to the screen as he was just a little bit underneath that one.
And Newport can't really afford to do that, especially with a dwindling bullpen and an ERA that's right around 6. It was above 6 yesterday.
Well, an 0-1 count here on Nick Howie as, again, Mike Heron just trying to get out of this inning and bring his guys back up at bat. Still only a 1-0 lead for the Mainers, so, of course, very doable. As that pitch grounded to the right side off the end of the bat, that's going to be a tough play for the pitcher as he scoops it up, and it's a fair ball flipped on over to first for out number 3 as the 6'6 lefty just kind of ran right into the base path of Nick Howie, and that's how the inning will end. So a good job there by Kieran to come on in a tough spot and get out of it. As we move to the bottom of the 4th, it's still 1-0 Mainers as you listen to this game on the NECBL Broadcast Network and 102.3 The Legends FM. Cardines Field here, 1-0 Mainers over the Newport Gulls, but the Newport Gulls are right back up to the bat as it'll be 3, 4, and 5 for Newport to lead off the bottom half of the 4th. Mike Kirian coming on in the top half and getting the Newport Gulls out of a jam as the Mainers have now stranded 6 base runners over the first 4 innings. So not the stat that head coach Chris Morris wants to see, that's for sure, because that's just runs wasted. And it gives Newport a chance here in the bottom half of the 4th. Matt Dockman back out there, though. Matt Dockman's been looking pretty good early on in just his 2nd start of the NECBL season. The usual reliever into the starting role. First pitch misses outside for ball number 1 here to Cody Hosey.
Yeah, and the book closed on Bates. 3 1/3, 2 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, and hit by pitch.
Second pitch does hit the zone for strike number 2. Already going to be seeing more pitches in this at-bat is Hosey than he did the first time around. 2 pitches and popped out as the 1-1 pitch comes home. Curveball pops straight back, but it's a foul ball, and it's just 1-2. Again, much different field dimensions, comparatively speaking, for those of you who listen back in Sanford, comparatively speaking to Goodall Park, where there is about 60 feet of room behind home plate and just as much on either side. Here, not so much.
Nope, cramped in by Rhodes.
That ball grounded out to shortstop, should be playable as it skips up into the chest, on over to first for out number 1. Good job there to stay on a tough hop, and it's a 6-3 ground out to start the inning.
Yeah, Hosey, 316 in his last 5 games. A run, 6 hits, and an RBI, but 0 for 2 here tonight.
As that will bring up Stevie Mangum, who worked a 9-pitch walk in his first time around, but then was picked off over at first base, so in essence pretty much canceled himself out. First pitch, though, misses out and away here, and it's 1-0.
And it was a nice at-bat, too. He fell behind 0-2, fouled off a few pitches to get back into it.
Comes into the night hitting .342 on the season. That pitch breaks in nicely over the outside corner for strike number 1, so it evens the count up at 1-1. 26 hits on the year. Looking for number 27 here to get himself on with 1 out. Swing and a miss on a big rip up in the zone on a fastball. Makes it 1-2.
And he's not a guy who runs a lot. He doesn't have a stolen base on the year. Not that many Newport Gulls do, just 13.
The 1-2 skips into the dirt and evens the count at 2-2 here. Not a bad pitch there, but of course maybe want to bring that pitch up a little bit to at least give the hitter something to think about down and in.
Mangum, another guy that sees the ball very well. He's not going to give you away too many pitches.
Strike 3 called on the inside corner, and he knew it as soon as that ball came in, as it just kind of froze him up. So it's quickly 2 outs here on the 4th strikeout of the game by Matt Dockman as he continues to cruise, but that will bring up Jason Gonzalez, the 3rd baseman.
Yeah, that was just a nice breaking ball. I mean, it started middle, then it ended on the inside, and Mangum knew it right away.
Well, and if a hitter that good is just walking out of the box, you know it's a good pitch. So ACC foes between these two, a Duke and a Virginia Tech guy. As the first pitch comes in, slider outside corner for strike number 1. So all of a sudden, Dockman's got that slider working nicely, especially to the outside corner against righties.
Yeah, back door, and, it looks like it's going to be well into the left-handed batter's box, just kind of skids right in.
The 0-1 popped up as it gets over towards the right field line. Long run for Solomon, and a lot of stuff to contend with down there. It's actually looked like it hit the light post.
There's a light post, too. I forgot to mention the light post.
So it did hit the light post, and that'll just make it 0-2 here. But another 0-2 count to deal with here for the Gulls hitters.
And also, there might be a grate there covered up by a cardboard box. I'm not really sure what that is.
And no matter how far Solomon ever has to run, his hat is guaranteed to come off. So the 0-2 slider fouled back out of play as that one will reach the street. No play on that one.
I always wondered, hat falling off, is that because you have too much hair? Is that because your hair's too short and the
I'll
hat
be
doesn't
honest with
fit?
you, it's because Solomon, there's very few hats that's going to fit Solomon's head. So he's a very big guy. Could easily play football for Vanderbilt University.
Okay.
Played baseball, is going down to Florida Southwest as that pitch just misses outside for the first ball of the count and makes it 1-2. That's a great waste pitch there. Nice frame job by Zaberski, but didn't get the strike call.
Just past the 8 o'clock hour here, bottom of the fourth.
Starting to get into that twilight time here. As a slider swing and a miss, strike 3 for back-to-back strikeouts and 1-2-3 inning once more for Matt Dockman. As we move to the fifth, still 1-0 in favor of the Mainers. You're listening to this game on the NECBL Broadcast Network and 102.3 The Legends FM. And welcome back to Cardines Field. 1-0 in favor of the visiting Sanford Mainers as they hop right back up to the plate. It's going to be 2, 3, and 4 with Lively, Reiser, and Solomon stepping up to the dish. A rare strikeout for Austin Lively, his last time up at the dish, and is 0 for 2 on the day with a ground out in his first at-bat.
Yeah, you know, Carrion came in and he did a good job there.
And Dockman doing very well for the Mainers so far on the mound. 4 solid innings, only 1 hit allowed and 5 strikeouts as the first pitch comes home to Lively, breaks down and in for strike number 1.
The approach has to be dare him to hit it. Don't give him free bases. Don't walk guys. Don't hit them. Just go right at him, and if they start to hit it, make an adjustment, but you have to challenge them.
That ball skips into the dirt. They'll check down to third base. He did not go, and that evens the count up at 1-1. Good job to hold the bat back there, but to a lefty, especially with a bigger left-handed pitcher on the mound, when they're stepping right at you and they're breaking off that kind of slider, that's tough to hang back that bat.
Yeah, definitely a lot of mental fortitude, I guess I'd say.
Austin Lively out of Seattle University, native of Redmond, Washington, all the way across the continental United States for this summer as he had a time in the Cape as that curveball sweeps all the way across, catches the outside corner, and it's quickly 1-2 here. It was a 10-pitch at-bat last time Lively was up, but a strikeout nonetheless, and a big strikeout it was. As this pitch comes home, swing and a miss, but that ball's going to skip back to the dirt, and it's out of play, so he'll stand on first base. So the strikeout, but not what you want to see on a strikeout if you are Kirian, and that'll put a man on first with nobody out.
Good pitch, but free bases.
And again, he did exactly what he wanted him to do, is chased after a low inside curveball, but instead Lively a presence of mind to get down that line, and I think even if the catcher Mazza gets it, it's very unlikely he's going to throw him out at first. So
there's also a screen there that he would have to work around, and Lively was trucking down the first baseline anyways.
So he does lead off at first. It'll be the first time a base runner going to have to contend with that lefty move, or at least someone they're going to be paying attention on over there at first base. As the first pitch comes home to Reiser, he squares the bunt, pulls back in time, says the home plate umpire, and it's ball number 1.
I see the slide step from Kirian. Against the Waves, boy, did they take advantage of Jake Eater and Kirian when they weren't slide stepping. 7 stolen bases in the first 5 innings of that game.
Oof.
17-1 loss ended up being, but they were first move leftying all day.
And just a short little move over there, just keeping an eye on him. I'm sure this next move going to come over with a lot more speed on it. But it's still a 1-0 count here to Johnny Reiser, who is 1 for 1 on the day. He had a single back in the first, and then he walked his last time up. He tries to bunt there, but he bunts it off of the plate, and it skips backwards, so just a strike here. And we mentioned it, that's what head coach Chris Morris likes to do early in innings and early in ball games, especially in a game like this where neither side really hitting the ball very well, to say the very least. So you got to produce runs somehow, and with nobody out here, trying to do a little small ball action and move a guy up even with a bat like Johnny Reiser has. So the 1-1 from Kirian, squaring again. That ball grounded right back to the pitcher. Looks over to second base, but throws it on to first. So Johnny Reiser does his job with the sac bunt and moves that runner up with 1 out into scoring position for Tyler Solomon, who will step up from the right-handed side of the plate this time around as he is a switch hitter. And now with a big lefty on there as a guy with home run power on both sides of the plate. 4 of his home runs, though, coming from the left side, 1 of which coming from the right.
What it is, it's fun to watch. I mean, I would say fundamentally sound. That's what the Mainers are. Just 30 errors, third in the NECBL. A great pitching staff. Yes, they not hit the ball, but they're able to manufacture runs, sack bunts left and right, and that's entertaining to see how they're going to. It's more of a chess match with them instead of just an outright offensive onslaught.
And of course, they would love to put up 15, 16 runs a game. Of course, every team would, but do play well. Small ball, that ball grounded to the left side. That's going to be playable on over to second base. Stopping there is Lively. Good play by the shortstop. Gets him hung up in the base path, and he tags him out for out number 2. That's just a good play. Not the best base running decision by Lively, as that was a really hard hit ground ball to shortstop. And so it'll be a man on first and 2 outs here.
Yeah, I mean, cliche, you know what you're taught, man on second. If it's hit to your right, you're not supposed to run to third. Heads up play by Blumgren there, and a nice execution of the rundown.
And at the very least, if you want to run, take a big secondary jump off of second base and wait till at least he throws the ball over to first base. But you're right, especially in this kind of game, every run counts. So it's now first base and 2 outs here in the top half of the 5th. First pitch swinging for Shane Marshall as he fouls it straight back. He's 0 for 2 on the day, as he ended that bases-loaded inning back in the 3rd where they ground out to the shortstop.
When you talk about fundamentally sound, and then you have a base-running error.
Yeah.
But
well, the fundamentally sound has more as the pop up, and will find its way out of play there as quickly 0-2 here. And Carrion has a lot more on that fastball than what Bates had, so a little bit more behind these pitches.
Bigger presence there on the hill, 6'6",
yeah,
and really come downhill on it.
So quickly 0-2 here to Shane Marshall. And looking for a 3rd out of this inning is Carrion. That pitch misses up, though, and makes it 1-2. Again, that's a great pitch. It's just kind of hovered over the top half of the zone. And for a guy that's cut on 2 straight fastballs, trying to get him to chase, but you're still well in control of this at-bat as the 1-2 comes home. That ball almost hits the back foot there of Marshall, but instead just evens the count at 2-2.
Yeah, I don't want to lose him now, especially hit by pitch. Bates was up 1-2 when White was hit on that pitch. And, it didn't end up resulting in anything except him coming out of the game a batter later.
That ball ripped out to left field. Playable, though, for the left fielder as he comes in and goes back just a couple of steps. For out number 3, so a harmless inning there despite the leadoff base runner getting on. And it's still 1-0 here as we have moved halfway through this game. We go to the bottom of the 5th here at Cardines Field. Mainers on top 1-0. You're listening to this game on the NECBL Broadcast Network and 102.3 The Legends FM. And welcome back to Cardines Field. I'm Mike Lennon alongside me, Dave Peck. And Dave, 1-0 game here. It's just been a pitcher's duel, really. The Mainers have had plenty of runners on to do stuff with, but as per usual, unfortunately, have stranded those runners out there. In fact, have stranded 7 through the first 5 innings. But Matt Dockman back out there doing really well on the mound for the Mainers as that pitch misses up and out for ball number 1 here.
Yeah, talk about it. 2 hits, but 4 walks and hit by pitch, and they've taken advantage of it. They've at least gotten 1 there.
Yeah.
It ended up being on a bases-loaded walk, but still.
As this pitch misses out and away, so quickly 2-0 here to Dylan Plew. And Dylan Plew struck out his first time around, as still in the 3rd time through this order here in the 5th inning, as Dockman's been looking good. But again, a guy this is only his 2nd start, so you wonder how long they're going to let him go. Obviously, you've given him the pitch here in the 5th. They have had an arm up in the bullpen, though, just waiting in the wings. That pitch, strike 1, as it comes down and in. Thought about swinging to Plew, but he held back, but it was a strike call anyway.
Yeah, it was a good pitch, right around the lower part of the knees. At this point in the game, you got to recognize that it's going to be a low zone here, and Plew trying to lead off again. He's been affected by that low pitch, but just 1 hit for Newport, and it was on that single that was hit hard but stabbed by Shepard, and he kind of mishandled it on the transfer. But not many chances for Newport so far in this game. And credit to Dockman. I mean, he's been lights out.
As this pitch comes in, skips out of the glove of Zaberski, and that'll make it 3-1. Here to Dylan Plew, leading off the bottom half of the 5th inning at Cardines Field.
Newport in the last 5 games, batting .211, just 20 runs, 32 hits.
And 2 offenses that have been struggling as that pitch misses low and outside for ball number 4. Dockman wanting to know where that missed, but it is a walk to lead off the inning here.
Seems like a very similar pitch to when it was called a strike earlier in the at-bat.
Well, again, that's always frustrating for pitchers, but this late into a good outing, you just got to go with it and say, okay, I'm just going to keep pumping the outside zone because obviously we saw it called a strike and that time called a ball. We just have to stay at it, and that will bring up Jack Blumgren here, the shortstop. Has made a couple of good plays in this game. One, an unassisted out to end a bases-loaded jam, and then look over at first here. A little bit of a low throw, though, so no play down there at first base. And then, of course, that play in the top half of this inning that picked off Austin Lively. A little bit of a base-running mental error, but at the same time, a good job by the shortstop to recognize it and throw the guy out at third.
Yep, and a good execution on the rundown as well. Seen each team be able to execute that so far in this game.
Yeah. So still waiting for the first pitch here as it does come home. Skips in the dirt. Zaburski gets it, throws it down to first. Just back in time, though, as Plew had skipped off. Thought that ball might have gotten by Zaburski, but a good job to scamper back in time. And it's 1-0 here.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily a mistake what you're taught when you're on first. If you see the trajectory of the ball being low, you know, you take a little extra lead. Obviously, it's easy to say when he doesn't get picked off, but you know, it's something that you want to do, especially in a game where you don't have many base runners.
So the 1-0 squaring to bunt, but a bunt attempt is fouled down the left field line, so it'll just even the count up here at 1-1.
And then you see a lot of times on a bunt attempt with the man on first, if the hitter isn't able to get it down and it misses, catcher's able to corral it, you'll see a quick back throw.
Yep.
See if they can pick him off, catch him in the mud.
And both catchers for the Mainers do have pretty good arms, in Josh Zaburski and then Austin McGarr, who's not getting the start tonight as he started the last couple of games. Head coach Chris Morris, obviously, with the amount of baseball that these guys have already played coming up to Summer League, got to give him some nights off as Dockman will bring this pitch home. Squaring a bunt again, almost hits him in the head, but a beautiful bunt there, played on over to first by Shepard as he gets the out. That's where a 6'5" first baseman comes into play for you, but a good job there as a sac bunt does its job. So a little small ball from the Gulls, and they have a runner in scoring position with one out.
Yeah, it was a nice bunt coming right towards his head. He had to lean back, was able to get it down, but how about Solomon there? When he caught it, he had his right foot on the bag, and the throw from Shepard kind of brought him off, but some fancy footwork there as he takes his two steps for the out.
And that will bring out head coach Chris Morris, and that may be the end of the night for Dockman. It has been a very good night for Dockman, but I believe that will be. We'll see here as Coach Morris kind of joking around with Dockman out there.
He's going to keep him.
So he is going to leave him in, and I think he's coming out saying, hey, listen, we're going to give you at least one more batter here. We got somebody waiting on you, but this is still your game. Go out there and get it for us. And always nice as a pitcher, especially when you see the head coach coming out, sometimes you're like, uh-oh, here we go.
Yeah.
But coming out and instilling some confidence in him, saying, hey, go get me these outs, and let's get out of here with still no runs on the board, but Gulls threatening out there with one out and a runner at second base. As Dockman will look in here for the first pitch home to Josh Mazza. Checks back at second, comes home with the pitch, grounded to the left side. That's going to be a tough play for Shepard. All the way over to first, across the diamond. Good job there, as that was kind of a knuckleballer coming off the bat, but able to stay back on it, put a good throw over to first. For out number two, as it's now 2 out, Jack Gethings will step in, the left-handed hitter. He walked, moved his way around to second, but was stranded his last time up.
Yeah, Mazza does that a lot. He's a first pitch swinger. I say it basically every game, but good job by Shepard, able to time up the hop, get one that was right around his chest to make the strong throw. He was pretty deep there at third.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, that's a ball that sometimes in between you, because sometimes you think, okay, I'm going to stay back on it, and it skips low, but it skipped into a good position for him and a good finish on the play. And a good pitch for Dockman as that one comes in for strike number one on the inside slider.
Well, it shows he trusts his arm. You know,
Yeah.
he doesn't have to run in. He knows he can sit back a little bit, even if it's chopped like that, and make the strong throw.
And you got to be confident if you worked your way into being the starting third baseman for Texas Christian University. You know, you got to have a little bit of confidence there.
Sure.
So the 0-1 count here as a timeout called by Gethings. A little bit too long for Dockman to find the sign he likes. So good job there by Gethings just to take a timeout. Even though down 0-1, still want to be in control of the at-bat in your own head. So the 0-1. Slider, swing and miss on a big sweeping swing there, and even if he caught that ball, not much he's going to do with it, as that ball's probably just going to be coming off the end of the bat.
Yeah, it was probably fortunate. I mean, it would have been 3 outs unless
Yeah.
it was some dribbler in the Bermuda Triangle somewhere. But, you know, it's a couple of times that we've seen Gulls very off balance. We saw Blumgren go to his knee when he was fooled on the slider earlier in the game.
So the 0-2 pitch going to come from Dockman here as he gets the fly ball out to the left side, although very short room to run down there the left field line, so that does get out of play, and he'll stay alive at 0-2. Will Gethings just trying to keep this inning going and hopefully find a ball he can put in the outfield and bring the tying run around from second base.
This is probably the best opportunity that Newport's had in this game.
Yeah. Again, we mentioned the Mainers have stranded 7 runners through the first 5 innings, but only 2 runners stranded so far for the Gulls. Not a ton of base runners to be spoken of here early on. As the pitch comes home here on the 0-2, skipped into the dirt, but a nice block behind the plate by Zaberski. Keeps that runner at second base, and it's still a 1-2 count. Bottom of the 5th inning here. Twilight time here at night. Sun has set a bit. A little bit of a breeze coming in. Blowing out towards right field, as you had mentioned earlier in the game, Dave.
This type of night can give a lot of trouble to outfielders, especially at Cardines. We've seen it this season.
So the deep breath and the 1-2. Strike 3 called on the outside corner. And Dockman strands another one as it's still 1-0 after 5 innings here at Cardines Field. We'll take a quick break, but we'll be right back on the NECBL Broadcast Network and 102.3 The Legends FM. And welcome back to Cardines Field. Let's kick it over to Joe DeLeon to kick us around the league here.
As of right now, we have multiple games in progress, as we've been talking about so far, having a little bit of connectivity issues as we typically do in Newport. And here we go, top of the 7th. The Plymouth Pilgrims hold a 5-3 lead over the Mystic Schooners. The Upper Valley.
That ball ripped out into left center field, and it's going to get down as that's a good hit there for Shepard, but a great play by the center fielder to get a glove on that ball. Will hold it to his single on a very hard hit ball. Sorry about that, Joe.
Yeah, no worries. Bottom of the 6th, the Upper Valley Nighthawks are holding a 5-0 lead over the Keene Swamp Bats. Danbury came back and is now up 10-6 on the Ocean State Waves. Bottom of the 4th, top of the 7th, the Winnipesaukee Muskrats are still down now by a score of 2-0 under the Vermont Mountaineers. And then finally, top of the 6th, the Valley Blue Sox are leading the North Adams Steeplecats 2-0. Back to you.
Thank you, Joe. And a leadoff base runner once again for the Mainers as they look over to first. Just a short little move over there to Shepard. Shepard not a threat to steal down there at first base for the Mainers, but we'll see if they try to play a little small ball once again, as they've done all game long. Haven't really been able to get much out of it. As the square to bunt, but that ball too far outside. First pitch into White is a ball. It's 1-0.
Just going back to that single, what a play by Tim Tawa. It looked like that was going to go into the gap in left center field. He was able to cut it off somehow. It looked like he was caught in between a little bit.
Yeah.
Not only that, but he makes a perfect throw into second.
As this pitch comes, a little running bunt there as it's fouled down the left field line. Kind of a hop skip there by White on the bunt attempt. But you're right. I mean, coming off the bat, that ball had a ton of spin to the left center field gap. And a good job there to literally just put a glove on it and keep it in the glove. As if that skips by him, Shepard's at least on second base. But in a field like this, maybe it kicks off the base of the wall and he keeps running. So a great job there to hold him to just a single. And that's going to force the Mainers, if they just tried to bunt, to get an out and move that runner over.
Yeah, we've already seen 2 sack bunts from the Mainers. We've seen 1 from the Gulls. It's been that kind of game.
As this one comes home, another sack bunt attempt here. That one's going to be a great bunt attempt by White, but a better play by the third baseman in Gonzalez as he comes up, scoops it, and fires for out number 1. But White does his job here with the sack bunt.
Oh, that was smooth. I mean, look at this. Chopper bunt. He comes in, is able to make the very strong throw across his body with his momentum, bring him towards home.
The Nolan Arenado special, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, that was good stuff.
Josh Zaberski steps in here. He's 0 for 1 on the day, did walk and scored the only run of this game thus far as he came around on that 2-out bases loaded walk that Solomon drew back in that 3rd inning. As the pitch comes home, strike number 1 to him. He was the first batter to face Kirian and had a 2-0 count to start it out, but 3 pitches later it was a fielder's choice. So he starts 0-1 here with a runner out there at second base, and what is a very big run here late in this ballgame, especially the way that these two teams have been really hitting the ball so far. So we'll see what Zaberski has here as the fake look back to first, and now the 0-1 pitch. That ball into the dirt, good block by Mazza. Makes it 1-1, but the runner has to stay put.
Based on the way Dockman's been pitching, would you expect him to come out again?
A
little bit of trouble, but, I mean, relative trouble.
I think it's one of those things that you have him have 5 confident innings, and you maybe take him out, go to your bullpen that's been so good for you all year. Check swing there. We'll see if he went. And no, says the home plate umpire, so it's 2-1. But getting back to Dockman, I think you give him the confidence as it's 2 consecutive starts that he's done really well. This one going all the way through 5 innings and just really pitching well, as opposed to coming out with an inning and maybe kind of losing it a little bit. So we'll see, though, as a lot of baseball to be played for the Mainers this week, as it's 7 games in 6 days. So don't necessarily want to burn through a bullpen too much. That ball was fouled back 2-2.
No, Mike, that's an excellent point, because it's not necessarily about this game.
Yeah.
It's about when they come out of the ball game, can they be happy? Or is it something they can build off of?
Exactly.
If you leave them in too long, it can mess with their head, bring down their confidence, and then they're affected 5 days later.
I always think about Grady Little leaving Pedro Martinez in just one batter too long against the Yankees, and you know, of course, what happened in that one back in 2003. This pitch comes home, ground to the right side, playable for the second baseman. Nice stab by Gethings to stay with that, because that was a odd skip out there. So the runner moves up 90 more feet, only 90 feet away from home. But there are 2 outs, and that'll bring up Randy Bednar, who did walk his last time up and singled the first time.
It was a nice play by Gethings. Started in, was a little bit actually to his left, and he didn't get totally in front of it.
And that's one of those balls sometimes you see kind of dart underneath the glove, but a good job to keep an eye on it at least.
Good reaction there from Gethings.
So runner down at third base. Mainers trying not to strand another one. As Randy Bednar steps in, as I mentioned, 1-1 on the day. First pitch, big rip there on a pitch that was left up in the zone for strike number 1. And that's a ball if he catches hold of, maybe he does some damage with, but if he swings and misses, it's a big swing and miss.
It's also very hard to keep that fair.
Yeah. And we've seen a couple of hard hit balls down the left field line. That ball misses in and evens the count at 1-1. So working on that inside corner, at least through the first 2 pitches here. Of course, maybe that's to change up the eye angle and bring it outside here. But Bednar did have that first pitch single right back up the box in that 3rd inning. That ball popped up. And I believe Gethings does have a view of it as he comes in and makes the catch for out number 3. So Carrion does the job again, despite a leadoff base runner and a sac bunt to put him on second base with only 1 out. The Mainers strand another one. That's now 8 on the game, and we move to the bottom half of the 6th. Score still 1-0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network and 102.3 The Legends FM. Cardines Field, bottom of the 6th inning. It's 1-0 still in favor of the Sanford Mainers as the Newport Gulls come back up, and some good pitching by the Newport Gulls as they've been in some jams, and especially early on in innings, but have really stranded some runners as some more rooftop viewers up there.
And it's funny, actually, the guy all the way on the left wearing the Gulls hat, he was wearing a hat in town a couple of days ago. I saw him on the sidewalk. I said, "You a big Gulls guy?" He said, "Yes, I'm the guy who sits on the warehouse out there and right."
And
I
he's
said,
not
"All right,
lying.
we got a game Wednesday. You better be there." And there's Walter.
He wasn't lying to you, so
on
there he
cue.
is.
Love to see that, Walter, if you're listening up there.
So it is top of the lineup here as we switch back, and Angelo Smith is on the mound for the Mainers. Swing and a miss on the strike pitch there, down and in. And Smith had a tough outing last time, only went a third of an inning and walked a few hitters. So, you know, he'd love to get out a young man who did exceptionally well at the University of Michigan this season. This pitch fouled out of play, and it's quickly 0-2.
He's got a little bit of a delay in his windup, kind of hangs the ball down there to his left side. I don't want to say David Wells-esque, but, you know, he just hangs it there, hides an extra second, and then comes through.
It's also the twist on the leg kick there, a very high leg kick. Slider misses outside for ball number 1. But it does throw, especially lefties, it throws off their timing a lot because he's already planting towards the left-handed hitter, and that little bit of a hitch just kind of makes a lefty kind of dart forward a little bit quicker than they want to. But it's 1-2 here on the leadoff hitter. Tim Tawa is one of the couple of hits so far on the day. Had that infield single, in fact, was the first hit of the day, but it was a stab by Connor Shepard, so it was more or less an infield single, but a hard infield single. It's 2-2 now on the fastball left up by Smith. So the 2-2, that ball skips away, and it's now 3-2. And again, mentioned Angelo Smith in his last outing, similar type thing, just really lost command of the strike zone and walked the bases loaded. Will Kazura was able to come in and get out of the inning, but at the same time, wanting to start off a little bit better here. Had him 0-2, and now it's 3-2. Ripped to the left side. That ball is smoked as it comes back, and slipping out there is Bednar, and that ball's going to get all the way to the fence. And the tying run's going to start out the inning standing on second base on the long throw in. And that ball just kind of lined out to left field. A tough play out there for Bednar as that ball was just ripped off the bat. He slipped and fell trying to come back for it.
Yeah, it looked like what he tried to do. Started to his left, and then you're taught as an outfielder, you pivot outside to kind of pick it up the other way. But when he was trying to change sides, he kind of got caught up and couldn't make the play. It was roped, and Tawa has been hitting the ball very hard. Even when he's been put away, he's been clocking the ball lately. So it's good to see one, pay off and go all the way to the fence. But, yeah, Smith was up 0-2, and then on a 3-2 pitch, just hung it over the middle.
And his teammates and Connor Shepard and Zaberski coming out and talking to him and saying, hey, listen, do what you got to do. Expecting a bunt maybe here with the number 2 hitter and Logan Harvey up, especially with that runner 180 feet away. Try to put him only 90 feet away. As first pitch comes home, strike number 1 on the slider on the outside corner. Good pitch there from Smith.
Final stat line for Dockman, 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. He's in line for the win, but 1-0, very slim. Could see a lot of changes as bullpen guys come in here.
Well, and again, the Mainers have stranded 8 runners on base, so not doing themselves any favors as that pitch misses outside, I should say, and evens the count up here at 1-1. You're right, coming out of the bullpen, of course, you always want a few more runs to work with, but that ball squibbed off the end of the bat, but that's going to be playable as it just had enough underneath it for Jonathan White to make the play. And that runner stays put at second base, and there's 1 out in the inning as Cody Hosey going to step up. 316 hitting. He's 0-2 today, but a big opportunity for him here late in the game.
Yeah, you wonder why Harvey didn't square around to bunt. It's a team that is hitting very well on the year, not necessarily lately. So you give him confidence and you have him swing away, but you would have had Hosey here, just needed to hit one relatively deep or on the ground.
So Smith will bring the first pitch home to him. Slider misses the outside corner there for ball number 1. As Josh Zaberski points back to him, that was a great spot for that pitch, but just missed it. As Smith looks in, and he'll bring the 1-0 home here to Hosey. That ball pops straight up, but it's got enough to spin backwards, and it's going to find its way over the grandstand for strike number 1. 1-1, 1 out here, bottom of the 6th inning. It's a 1-0 lead for the Mainers, but the Gulls in threatening to change that as the tying run stands at second base with only 1 out here.
3 hits for the Mainers, 2 for the Gulls now after that double from Tawa.
And both
by
hits
Tawa.
Coming from Tawa, exactly. That pitch misses low and inside and makes it 2-1. And both have just been rockets off the bat towards the towards the left side of the field. One was made a diving play, did Connor Shepard. Of course, it was an infield hit, but that second one was just a frozen rope out there to left field. As the 2-1 comes home, slider misses low, and it's 3-1.
Yeah, Zaberski tried to pull it back there, but it was well low. Good take from Hosey.
And that's the thing about Angelo Smith. It's one thing if he's wild and just completely missing, but when he misses, he barely misses. And it's just, I realize it's frustrating for him as that ball fouled out of play and makes it full count at 3-2 now.
What it does is test the discipline of the hitters that he's facing. Newport, generally a very disciplined team here. So, especially Hosey at the plate, the number 3 hitter in this lineup.
Hitting .316 on the season coming into this game, has 30 hits, which does lead the team. As it's a 3-2 count to him, but stepping off is Smith. Jonathan White is tentatively holding him on the bag out there, but also don't want to let one get by in the infield because that could bring a run home. This pitch up and away for ball 4. That ball wasn't close, and it's first and second now with only 1 out here, as that will bring up the number 4 hitter in Stevie Mangum, who has been red hot for this team this season.
And that was the 14th walk that Hosey's been able to draw so far in the season, first on the team.
So Stevie Mangum steps up in the biggest spot so far for the Gulls here late in the game. The tying run out there on second, and the go-ahead is at first. Big swing there on a pitch he might have wanted to let go, but fooled on the slider, and it's strike one.
Yeah, they've gone off speed a lot to him in this game.
Well, you look at what Dockman threw him, all but one of the 6 pitches was a curveball or a slider. So as a step off there, looks back towards second, not going to make the throw, though. Be careful on the step off, though. If you're going to step off, at least try to make that move so you're not going to get called for a balk and move these 2 runners into scoring position. Pitch way outside as he let go of that too early. Evens the count at 1-1, but a good job by Zaversky behind the plate to at least get a glove on that.
Yeah, but still 1 out. The last thing you want is a pass ball.
Yep. Because, again, right now the double play ball in effect, so if you can get a good ground ball, maybe end the inning. As a check swing there, yes, he did, and that's strike number 2 on Mangum.
He's just not seeing the ball very well. But credit the Mainers, they've been mixing it up on him very well.
Well, and that one looked like he might have been expecting a slider, but he was way late on the fastball, and even then, not necessarily a swing that he wants to put on it. So it's 1-2 here. As this pitch comes home, swing and a miss, strike 3. So Angelo Smith gets a big strikeout there, but that tying run still on second base. There is 2 outs, though, and that'll bring up Jason Gonzalez, the third baseman.
Yeah, that's the 32nd strikeout of the season. He's tied for first for the Gulls now with teammate Dalton Reed with 32.
Not necessarily a category you want to lead, that's for sure. But
no.
Although I will say, if you look at his numbers, you'll take the 32 strikeouts when he has 30 hits, or 26 hits, I should say, and a bunch of home runs. So first pitch, as step off there, looking at second base.
Tawa giving Smith a little trouble over there.
And again, you don't want to forget about him, because the last thing you want him to do is just straight up steal on you and put himself only 90 feet away, and then a pass ball, there's your tying run. So first pitch, nice block behind the plate by Zabersky as he got out of the crouch quickly on that one. And it's 1-0, but the runners stay put.
Yeah, big strikeout there to Mangrum, keeping the sacrifice fly or that ground ball to the middle infield out of play.
Yeah. Now it's got to be a ball to the outfield. So Smith looks in, waiting to get the sign here from Zabersky. He does, and he'll bring the 1-0 home. That ball lined straight at the screen and had enough on it, a bunch of dust kicking off the screen up there. Makes it 1-1, though.
This place is a dust bowl. Absolutely.
Well, with as dry as it's been, you can't imagine any field is not exactly soaked with water in the last couple of weeks for sure.
Forges Field yesterday was very dusty as well.
Yeah.
They had some water problems early on in the season.
Swing and a miss, outside corner, and it's 1-2. That was just a nasty fastball there that just died out and away from the right-handed hitter. And again, that's one of those pitches that even if he does get bat on ball there, not much he's going to do with it. That's just coming off the end of the bat.
Yeah, he's got a lot of movement there, lefty two-seam, so it's going away from Gonzalez. That's how you break bats.
So it's bear down time for both Smith and Gonzalez. Pitch comes home. Strike 3 called outside corner, and Angelo Smith does a great job of working out of it, and he strands 2 runners on here in the bottom half of the 6th. We move to the 7th. We're 2/3 of the way through this one at Cardines Field. It's 1-0 Mainers on the NECBL Broadcast Network and 102.3 The Legends FM. And a welcome back here to Cardines Field on a beautiful night in Newport, Rhode Island. It's into the 7th inning, 1-0 Mainers, and I'll kick it right back over to my partner, Dave Peck. Dave?
Thank you, Mike. A close one to be expected here. You had a nice pitching staff of the Mainers and a really nice outing from Dockman, keeping the Gulls off the scoreboard here. But we're in the top of the 7th here. 8:42 on the eastern seaboard. Howie, Lively, and Reiser leading things off in the inning.
So definitely the right part of the order. You want to put runs on the board, but it's been a great job by these Newport pitchers to strand a bunch of runners on base and get themselves out of some tough shots early on.
Yeah, last 2 innings, Mainers have gotten their leadoff man on. First pitch curveball misses low for ball 1, and they've executed the sacrifice bunt as well, but Kirian has been able to work through it.
But that inning for Angelo Smith is just such a massive confidence booster because, especially after the last outing he had.
1-0 pitch waved and missed.
And just to come back like that, he put himself down in a really tough position early on, but he came right back out, struck out 2 straight guys, and got out of it, and kept this thing at a 1-0 game for his team.
3 hits for the Mainers, 2 for the Gulls. No errors for either team. It's been a very clean baseball game. 1-1 off speed, just runs inside. So 2 balls in 1 strike here to Howie. He struck out in the first, then executed the sacrifice bunt in the 3rd. and grounded out to Bates in the fourth. 2-1. Chopper, left side. Third baseman Gonzalez dives to his left, but can't handle it as it stays there in the dirt between the shortstop and the third baseman. That'll be a leadoff single there for Howie.
Well, and that's a tough play for the third baseman, and even for a shortstop coming in on that one, that would have been tough. And you kind of see Blumgren kind of look over at Gonzalez saying, hey, maybe you should have let that one go to me. But either way, it's a leadoff base runner. But Kirian's done a good job with leadoff base runners and getting out of these situations. So we'll see what what Austin Lively decides he wants to do. I called him Blake Lively the day he started laughing. I said, how many times did that happen to you?
First pitch curveball. He shows bunt, but pulls back for ball one. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw his name. No relation.
No.
I assume not.
One's a male, one's a female. So
right. Blake Shelton. Blake.
Yeah.
It can be a male's name.
Yeah.
That one is bunted down the first baseline, but it rolls just foul, so the count will move to 1-1 strike.
And that's a bunt attempt that the Gulls are happy went foul, because I think Lively's standing over there at first base, because that's a long run, both the first baseman coming in and the pitcher. But I will say, I realize he's got long legs, but Kirian, as a left-handed pitcher, has sprung back to that right side of the infield really quickly.
Yeah.
And of course, with a stride like his, it doesn't take too much, but
it's the bending down to get the ball. That's the thing.
Exactly.
That's the tricky thing. 1 on, nobody out. And Kirian will go to check on Howie, but
the John Lester move.
Not too much yet. There, just kind of lazily threw it over. But
yeah, I'm thinking about you. Don't get too creative here.
Right. Comes to the set now with the glove at the belt. 1-1 pitch. Lively shows bunt. It's right back to Kirian. Looks at second, but then goes to first to retire Lively. But the third straight inning with a successful sacrifice bunt. There's a runner on second with one down.
Yeah, now the key is trying to bring that guy home, because, again, they're making it look easy as far as the sack bunts are concerned and playing the small ball, but then they just can't finish it. So we'll see if Reiser can find some outfield grass like he did in his first at-bat, as he's still 1 for 1 with a walk and a sack bunt, so doesn't have to sack bunt here.
He's done all the things right. He also has a stolen base. Bats third in this lineup, so this is the part you want up in an RBI opportunity with one down. First pitch, breaking ball. That one misses low and outside for ball one.
And he does have a pretty decent amount of success against lefties, including a home run off a lefty on a down inside fastball. So you got to make sure where you're putting it against a quick bat like Reiser has.
And a lefty, too. If he can pull it, that'll advance Howie to third. 1-0 pitch. Curveball in the dirt, swung on and missed, but it gets behind Mazza. And now Howie is on third without a ground out. And the sacrifice fly is in play.
Yeah, I mean, again, you get a good piece underneath one here, or we'll see. I would imagine that they're going to bring the infield in. I mean, if they did it in the second and third inning, I'd have to imagine in the seventh you got to bring the infield in here.
Yeah, it looks like they will. Gething's already there towing the grass.
But if you can hit a hard ground ball and really make them have to go one way or the other, unless it's hit right at the fielder, you're probably going to get a run home here.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the problem when Newport has done this. You risk it, but they haven't been successful. 1-1 pitch. Another curveball. That one drops in for strike two right around the knees. He's gone to the off speed a lot here on Reiser.
And Reiser struck out a couple of times on Monday night against that curveball. Now, it was a righty throwing it that broke down and in, so maybe breaking out over the plate a little bit different there, but he's got to choke up here.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball waved and missed for strike three. Nice job there by Kirian to get Reiser swinging. That's out number 2 in the inning. And for Kirian, that's his second strikeout of the ball game and a big one.
Well, and that's the thing, that's exactly what they have done, is despite the sack bunt moving a guy up, and now it moved him up 90 feet closer on the pass ball, but Kirian and even Bates, when he was in, despite that one inning, got out of those jams pretty easily. So
Solomon trying to plate a run, but takes strike one on the low and inside corner. It's been frustrating for the Mainers. It's been frustrating for the Gulls as well, but
well, the Mainers have been frustrated for a while here, because this is the type of situations that they've had all season long, just have not been able to capitalize.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Fastball misses well inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Solomon struck out his first time up, then walked with the bases loaded, got the RBI, and grounded into that fielder's choice when Lively was caught in the rundown between second and third. Fastball misses high, 2-1.
And that's 3 straight fastballs on the inside corner to a guy that can get around on a ball. So I think they're just trying to take his eye level out of it, and then they're going to pump it right towards the outside corner here.
1-0 Mainers on top of the 7th inning. Howie on third, 2 outs. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and it's an inside-out swing, popped up foul, right side and out of play.
And again, Mainers just try not to strand another one. We've talked about it, 8 runners stranded through the first 6 innings of this one, and in danger of stranding runner number 9, and it's still being only a 1-0 game despite having runners in scoring position with only 1 out on multiple occasions.
Period been in the ball game 3 1/3. Trying to make it 2/3. Here's the 2-2. Curveball in the dirt, and he went around, says Tyler Bullock. Back-to-back strikeouts, gets Kirian out of a jam, and the score remains 1-0 Mainers, but a nice performance from the Louisville Cardinal. We'll head to the home half of the 7th. You're tuned in to NECBL Baseball on the NECBL Network and 102.3 The Legends FM.
Franklin is
Sun setting here in Newport, Rhode Island, but a beautiful evening it has been, and an entertaining ball game as well. 1-0 here in the bottom of the 7th inning. New pitcher here for the Mainers, it's Sean Fisher.
And Sean Fisher's been doing very well out of this bullpen so far, and he comes in tasked at, just like Angelo Smith had, tasked at keeping it where it is to try to get his bats back up. But a good job. I can't say enough about the Newport Gulls pitching in this game, that despite 1 out with runners in scoring position, and in that last half inning, even more of a difficult time as it was 1 out and a runner at third base. But 2 straight strikeouts against 2 very good hitters got him out of the inning, and they're hanging around here. So if you're the Mainers, you got to find something quick to get a couple of insurance runs home. And if you're Newport, you got to have all the confidence in the world. You're only down a run here.
It'll be Plough, Blumgren, and Mazza try and get the goals on the board here in the bottom of the 7th. First pitch from Fisher is a fastball that misses low for ball 1. So they're throwing a lot of lefties here at Newport. As a team, the Gulls, well, they're batting .249 compared to their .293 average. We mentioned it earlier. 81 hits compared to 176. So definitely struggled a little bit more.
And the big thing for the Mainers was getting 5 strong innings out of a starter.
1-0 pitch. That's a slider that's in there for strike 1.
Not that it's been tough getting 5 strong innings, but usually the way Chris Morris likes to play it is maybe 4 innings out of his starter, and then he goes to his bullpen. But as I mentioned, 7 games in 6 days, you got to kind of keep that at bay a little bit, and you don't want to waste too many right off the bat.
Fisher winds and deals. That one scooped up into left field. Bednar backpedaling settles under it, and he's able to make the play.
Actually, it looks like they did make a change for this half inning out there in left field. As I apologize, should have noticed that earlier. Brad Cherniewski comes into the ballgame. So Cherniewski going to replace Bednar at the bottom of the lineup and in left field.
So Cherniewski, that's what happens. You come into the game.
Yeah.
A routine play, though, for Cherniewski. So 1 down in the inning. That'll bring up Jack Blumgren. He struck out looking his first time up, then laid down the sac bunt, but with Plough at second, Newport couldn't do anything with him.
Always have that homing beacon when you come off the bench.
First pitch. Changeup misses low for ball 1. Final stat line for Smith: 1 inning, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts.
And probably the 2 biggest strikeouts he's had all season long so far for the Mainers.
Here's the 1-0. Fastball runs inside. 2 balls and no strikes.
And Fisher, not a guy that strikes out a ton of guys, but he makes you put the ball in play as he just comes right at you with strike after strike. He's got a lot of movement down and away on righties, down and in on lefties.
2-0 pitch. That one freezes up Blumgren. It's in there for strike 1.
That looked like a pitch Blumgren just going to take the whole way, especially, again, you're down a run. It's getting late in this game. You want to try to get on any way, shape, or form you can. So
trying to be patient, maybe work a walk here. As the 2-1 comes in, it's waved and missed for strike 2. Low and outside, but he chased it.
And that's that pitch, like I say, it starts over the middle of the plate, but then the next thing you know, it just dies out and away. And it's the same arm angle on both the changeup and the fastball, so it's very hard to pick up, especially speed-wise.
Especially when he's facing right-handed hitters there, throwing from the left side. It just kind of goes into the left-handed batter's box. 2-2, breaking ball in there for strike 3. Blumgren goes down looking, 2 down here in the 7th. Nice pitch, and he was frustrated.
And, you know, unfortunately, that's that pitch that we've seen called a strike and a ball here tonight. It now has been a strikeout on both sides, at least, as the same exact pitch struck out Nick Howie. And, of course, Nick Howie was not happy about it, but a strikeout nonetheless, and now I guess it's evened up anyway between both sides.
Yeah, and it was definitely close.
Yeah.
And maybe by the time that Zberski caught it, it was a ball, but when it crossed the plate, it may have caught that inside edge a little bit. Nonetheless, there are 2 down here for John Mazza. He's been first pitch swinging all day, but he takes ball 1 low.
That one skips off the face mask there of Zberski as it kind of hit the end of the plate and just kind of shot up on him. So
1-0, Sanford on top, bottom of the 7th inning. Nobody on, 2 outs. Mazza 0 for 2 on the evening, a couple of ground outs. A lot of frustration from Newport. 1-0 pitch. That one hit sharply on the ground, but foul.
Nice
to the
little
left
dance
side of
move
third.
down there by the third base coach.
Yeah, Greg Grawl, he's gotten very comfortable over there. He doesn't have a lot of room to work with, but he's had to work off.
But he knows his surroundings, so he's able to work off it. I got
Exactly. And, that's something that comes with experience. And, over halfway through the season, he's really figured it out over there. 1-1 changeup there gets Mazza to wave and miss for strike 2. That's the pitch.
And again, that's impossible to hit for a right-handed hitter, and it's really hard to pick up as it just breaks out and away from you, especially starting over the plate at one point. For it to have that much moving out and away is just tough.
Here's the 1-2, and it misses low. Gets away from Zberski, but nobody on. The count will move to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And just trying to get him to chase there down and away in the zone, and got him chase a couple times, go right back at it.
Yeah, Newport, they've generally disciplined team, but they've chased on their fair amount of balls that have been in the dirt.
And let's be honest, both offensive have got to be very frustrated with this game. A lot of strikeouts on pitches that they shouldn't have struck out on, but have just put themselves down in counts.
Fisher shakes off Zberski. Now winds and deals the 2-2. Changeup waved and missed for strike 3. A 1-2-3 inning for Sean Fisher. And the Gulls are still held off the board. We'll head to the 8th. 1-0 Mainers on top. Here on the NECBL Broadcast Network and 102.3 The Legends FM. Getting right down to it here at Cardines Field. Still 1-0. Mainers on top. The only run that they scored, well, it was on a bases-loaded walk from Josh Bates, and it came back in the top of the 3rd inning. That plated Zberski from 3rd. It was Solomon who was able to work the walk. He has the only RBI in the ball game. Mainers with 4 hits, Newport Gulls with 2, and we have a pitching change here for Newport. And it is Austin Michelle out of Dartmouth who's coming in to pitch here in the 8th. Coming in for Mike Kirian. Michelle, a rising junior, 6 foot 195, 0-0 record, 5.57 ERA in 11 games played this season. 27 hits, 6 walks, 25 strikeouts. And he does have a save. His last outing came against Ocean State. 3 innings, 1 run, 2 hits, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. The one bright spot in that 17-1 loss.
Well, and the lefty parade is over, I think, here tonight. 3 lefties for the Mainers, and of course, but you got to give credit to Kirian coming on the situation that he did, and as well as he pitched.
First pitch, breaking ball to Marshall is waved and missed for strike 1. It'll be Marshall, Shepard, and White here in the inning.
I love that pitch right there by Michelle because, again, you come out of the pen, people probably expect a dead red fastball, and you break off a curveball. So
0-1. That fastball is hit on the ground right towards the shortstop Blumgren, but he can't handle it as it rolls into shallow left field. And that will be an error charged to Blumgren, a leadoff one at that, first of the ball game. That's frustrating there for Michelle. He did exactly what he wanted to do, and it was hard hit, but pretty much right at Blumgren there. He just couldn't handle it.
Yeah, and I think he maybe just let it take one too many skips off the ground, and that very last one just kind of locked him up a little bit. You kind of saw him pull up a little bit and just skipped off the heel of his glove. So we saw what Shepard did last time. A much better hit from Shepard is he's been really getting under the ball as of late, but he smoked that ball out to left center field. But a great play out there in center field only kept him at first.
Michelle goes to check on Marshall.
We'll see if they decide to lay down enough sacrifice fun here. I mean,
that'd be 4 in a row.
Again, at some point, though, you got to bring that run around, and they haven't been able to do so.
Yep, they bunt, and he can't get it down as it goes all the way to the backstop. So it'll be no balls and 1 strike, but they're trying again. At some point, the percentages can be in your favor, I guess.
Well, I mean, I guess the way to look at it is it's better than him getting out and that runner still being on first base. So if he's going to get out, at least you have a runner 90 feet closer. But at the same time, the guys behind him have got to come up and get hits, and we just haven't seen that so far.
Gonzalez now on the edge of the grass over at third. Michelle working from the stretch, sets the glove at the chest. Here's the 0-1, and he does not bunt, but Marshall is off the throw from Mazza down to second. Is not going to be in time, so they do it a different way this time. Marshall has the stolen base, it'll be a 1-1 count to Shepard, but changing it up a little bit, same result.
I mean, yeah, so who knows? Maybe we see a bunt attempt on this one and you move them 90 more feet. But at the same time, again, with one out and a runner down there at third base last time, weren't able to bring him around. But at least this time you don't have to waste an out on it. So see if he's swinging away here on the 1-1.
Well, Gonzalez has made a few very good plays on the bunt.
Yeah.
You know, they're not routine, so he does have a chance to also, you know, reach for it safely if he can get it down in the right spot. He will not square as he hits this one on the ground, right side, and that'll get all the way into right field. Marshall being waved around. The throw-in from Mangrum is going to be cut off. It's 2-0 Mainers.
And that is what this team has been missing, and especially Connor Shepard. The fact if that's something that can get Connor Shepard going, this team is going to be very tough to fend off because of the fact that Connor Shepard was really that guy early on that was kind of the catalyst, that even if the rest of the lineup was struggling, he'd come up and get a base knock just like that. Got it right there, and with the speed of Marshall, that brings home a very important second run.
Yeah, they didn't even need to, you know, lay down the bunt to try and get the sacrifice fly. They just did it with their 5th hit of the ball game. And you knew that Marshall was being waved around regardless based on the way they haven't been able to play him, but not even a play at the plate. Here's Jonathan White after Michelle goes to check on Shepard. So it's 2-0 now, top of the 8th inning, just past the 9 o'clock hour here in Newport, Rhode Island. That run is not earned. It was on the error from Blumgren. Changeup misses inside. Now 1 ball and no strikes.
And how many times in the game of baseball do you see a late inning error come back and bite you? And unfortunately, it happens there. Trust me, the Mainers have seen it one too many times early on in this season as well. And it's just always a painful thing. When next time you get up at bat, though, maybe try to change that.
Here's the 1-0 slide step from Michelle. Breaking ball misses low and outside. We talked about before the game, angsty feeling. I think that's the word, that is the word we used to describe it before we even started.
Yeah, again, kind of, I've been sitting on the edge of my seat the entire game. I know you have as well, and it's definitely been one of those games.
I mean, this is some of the best posture I've ever had in my life. 2-0 is in there on the inside corner for strike 1.
I was going to say, it's one of the few games where my back hasn't hurt it.
Yeah.
Hasn't hurt it. I said hurt it, but hurt.
Well, we have the nice rest back chairs.
Oh, yeah, I like that too.
But, boy, yeah, it's been riveting, I would say. That's another word to describe this game.
Which, you know, it's better than coming to a ballpark and just seeing a blowout. You know, of course, either side would love to do it, but at the same time, you know, it's a lot more fun, keeps the fans involved, keeps us involved, and it just provides a good game to watch. And, you know, the Mainers won an 11-inning game 1-0 at Mystic.
Boy, yeah.
And it was a pitcher's duel, gave up 3 hits in the game, did the pitching staff. So
3-1, fastball misses up, so it'll be ball 4 to White. Now runners on first and second, still nobody out in the inning. Yeah, Newport has been, you know, on the right end of blowouts, 23-5 against Danbury earlier in the season. They've been on the wrong end of blowouts, 17-1 here at Cardines Field actually on Monday. So the last time the fans were at the ballpark, it was not entertaining at all. And then 16-1 loss at Mystic. That was a nightmare of a game for the Gulls, and the coaching staff was very, very displeased. They were certainly letting the players hear it after the game, rightfully so. I mean, it's been a rough road for Newport lately. They did split the doubleheader with the Pilgrims to kind of stay in it.
And this is kind of always that part of the season, really, where it kind of everybody hits a wall, you know, and it's who can make the least amount of mistakes in a game, and that's kind of what it's been.
Zaberski shows bunt, but is able to pull back as the curveball misses low. They did check over to Tyler Bullock at first. A couple of angry fans. You talk about angsty.
I was going to say the stands umpire's not happy with that call. But
are they ever happy with that call?
No, of course not. Of course not. Well, yes, if it goes against the other team.
Yeah,
sure.
That's true. Here's a 1-0. Zaberski shows bunt again. Pulls back as the fastball misses high.
Now, I will say, Jonathan White's got to be careful because we've seen this twice, maybe 3 times with the Mainers before on a bunt attempt. You mentioned it. Runner at first base, a snap throw real quick by the catcher has gotten a couple of guys out. So if you're Jonathan White, it's nobody out, a run already home here. Keep this inning going as long as you can.
2-0 pitch, shows bunt, pulls back once more as the curveball misses low. So 3 straight balls and some frustration here from Michelle. He walked White on 5 pitches. He now stands on first. Shepard with the RBI single.
And if you're Zaberski, you just don't take this bat off the shoulder. I don't care if it's right down the middle or not.
There shows bunt, and it's in there. That was a sarcastic cheer, I believe, from the Cardines faithful.
I believe they're okay with that strike call.
2-0 here, top of the 8th. Mainers on top and threatening. Shows bunt again. This time he misses it. It fouls to the backstop, so a full count. Michelle trying to work all the way back here and record the first out of the inning.
And Zaberski not really the guy you're expecting to really kind of get the perfect bunt down. I mean, as a hitter, he is more of a get up there and rip away and get line drives, but who knows? I can't imagine on a 3-2 they'll have him squaring again, but who knows? Maybe they will.
Shepard on second, White on first. Michelle comes to the set. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and it misses high for ball 4. So back-to-back walks for the Mainers, and the bases are now loaded. Still nobody out.
And, I think I realize it's the 8th inning, but I think the patience is finally starting to show off for the Mainers as, they had it early on, but kind of went away from it as they started seeing, more and more runners getting stranded. And so now, again, it's nobody out, bases loaded. So even if you get a double play ball here, another run's going to come home, and that's very important right now in this game. So this is where that strikeout ball, and Brad Cherniewski going to be the guy that's going to come up here and try to get things started. His first at-bat, he comes up with the bases loaded, so looking to make some noise.
Not a lot of pressure, I would say, because there's nobody out. He can just kind of swing away. Most likely will get an RBI, I mean, unless he Ks up if he's able to put it in play.
Exactly. If you can put the ball, that's the biggest thing right now. You don't need a shot to the fence. Put the ball in play, and you're going to get another insurance run home here. It's going to be a very unlikely thing unless you pop it out to the infield. So go up there looking for a hard ground ball. If they spin 2 on you, cool. It is what it is. You get a very important third insurance run home. So we'll see. Deep breath. And again, like I say, the TCU guys for this team, very deliberate when it comes up to the plate.
Shepard on third, White on second, Zaberski on first. Here's Cherniewski from the right side. First pitch breaking ball. Catches the outside corner for strike 1. So nice start from Michelle, but Cherniewski, an opportunity, 236 hitter, 13 hits, a double, a home run, and 4 RBI.
Well, again, just to get ahead of a hitter again, that's big for a pitcher here.
Here's the 0-1 offering. That fastball is high. Snap throw back to first from Mazza, not in time as Zaberski's able to dive back safely, but there it is.
I told you.
There it is.
And that's the thing, and it's always the trail runner that gets thrown out, and it's just because, again, they're not expecting that, especially with the first baseman playing off the bag anyway towards the grass.
1-1 offering. Breaking ball, number right at Michelle, and it's a force play at home. He's able to underhand it to Mazza for out number 1, so a nice play there. That's basically the only place you couldn't hit it if you put it in play.
But, again, that's a big pitch there for Michelle coming into this game, seeing what the early part of this inning has looked like, because now you get a double play ball, and this inning's over, and you only give up the 1 run, whereas Mainers, of course, would love to get another ball here out in the outfield and possibly bring 2 home.
He does flip the lineup. Here is Howie, batting for the 5th time today. First pitch from Michelle, breaking ball. This one hit on the ground towards Gonzalez. Goes home with it. It's a low throw, but a nice pick there from Mazza. So back-to-back times, they're able to get the lead runner at home, and there are 2 down.
And again, the only thing that the Mainers couldn't do is exactly that, or a pop-up, obviously. But they've done it twice here, and it's now 2 outs. So despite a very, very tough start to begin this inning, all of a sudden, Michelle's out there in control. I realize the bases are loaded, but his confidence has got to be through the roof right now.
Yeah, momentum is rolling. But still, 1 pitch. You have to focus. Each one could be a problem here, trailing 2-0 in the 8th. Lively takes the first pitch on the inside corner for strike 1.
Well, and the benefit you have here as a pitcher is you don't have to care about those runners right now. It's 2 outs. You go right at the hitter, see if you can get them out. This is your ball game here.
Michelle from the windup. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one chopped, and Michelle is able to go to his right, field it, but he can't get it on the transfer. He had the play. He had it in his glove, but he couldn't come up with it. That will score Zaberski from third. It is now 3-0 Mainers. A huge break for Sanford there. That'll be an error on Michelle.
And again, you get to that position, but at the same time, it's only 1 more run, so you still got to dial back in here. You can't get in your own head. This is obviously not the time to get in your own head, especially with a guy like Reiser up. They struck him out last time he was up with runners in scoring position. You got to get up there and focus on the hitter.
So here is Reiser. First pitch from Michelle is a breaking ball in there for strike 1. He goes to that a lot on the first pitch. Pretty much every time in this inning.
Yeah, and over the last couple of hitters, it started to get him ahead of hitters right off the bat. But
this is still loaded now, 3-0. Already 2 runs scored in the inning.
Double up the production through the first 7.
Yeah. Long pause now from Michelle.
He might be waiting for the batter to call timeout, but Reiser was locked in there.
You know, sometimes when you're the hitter at the plate and you're just waiting for that long, it's kind of like when you approach a ball in golf and you're standing there and then you start to realize, oh boy, I'm not ready for this. And then you have to call timeout. If you don't, you're in trouble. 0-1, nice curveball, but it just misses inside to even things up at 1 ball and 1 strike.
And that's a pitch that on Monday night, Reiser was swinging a lot at, so a good job to see him lay off on that pitch on this one. And now he's right back into a good count for himself here. Trying to find a ball into the outfield.
Already has a single in the ball game. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball fouled down the first base line for strike 2.
And I'd have to imagine, at least over the next 2 pitches, we're going to see a healthy diet of that breaking ball again, because that seems to be the pitch that Michel has had the most control over and really has been his go-to here in this inning. So
he has a cutter as well, but he does like the slider. He have a nice changeup too, but you know, he's been in trouble, and it started with the error from Blumgren. Marshall ended up scoring on that. Then Shepard had the single. That was the only hit of the inning. 1-2 breaking ball laced down the right field line. And it is just foul as it hit the warehouse in the air. So there is no foul line there down the right field line. It is just the warehouse once you get past the scoreboard.
Wow.
So you're either running to a brick wall or the ball is hitting it in the air. Very, very fortunate, because that would have really busted this thing open.
Well, again, that was bringing at least 2 home. That may have even brought 3, because, again, 2 outs here. Maybe Chris Moore's getting a little bit free with the arm and waving some guys home, but now just a long strike. So that always works in the advantage of the pitcher, because the pitcher, he knows, okay, I can't put that ball there again.
Right.
And meanwhile, the hitter has to dial back in here.
It's a mulligan, not to keep going back to golf. Chernieski on third, Howie on second, Lively on first, as that pitch is lifted deep to right field. Mangrum going back, trotting, looking up, and that thing is gone. Hey, wow. A grand slam.
And we've been waiting on a grand slam from that young man all season long. And there it is. And talk about dialing back in and putting even a better swing on the next pitch. Wow, what a hit.
Unbelievable. A grand slam, and Reiser touches them all. It's now 7-0. Mainers on top, and that is crushing for the Gulls here. The crowd has gone silent.
And, you know, I know, I realize it's going to be a tough pill to swallow, but for the Mainers, that is so big to see Johnny Reiser come through in a position like that, and with 2 outs nonetheless, to put a swing on that ball after on a 1-2 pitch.
So 6 runs scored in this inning. Only 2 hits. There was the error from Blumgren. Then Shepard singled. White walked. Zberski walked. And Chernieski reached on the fielder's choice. How he reached on the fielder's choice at L. That's where they got the 2 outs. And Lively reached on the error. Remember, Michel had a chance there. It was a ground ball hit right back at him, and he had it in his glove, just couldn't handle it on the transfer. And that set up Reiser for the grand slam, and wow.
Yeah, and that was one of those ones that was pretty much a no-doubter coming off the bat. The only thing is you're hoping it's going foul, but.
Solomon takes ball 1 high. Well, you know, we mentioned the mulligan there. We don't want to put it in the same spot. I mean, the very pitch before it, he hit basically same area of the ballpark. Just a big mistake. 1-0. Another curveball in there for strike 1. But this place has gone silent. They are shocked right now. And it was a game that was so close, and you never knew what was going to happen when the bullpen pitchers came into it.
Yeah, and again, this is just something the Mainers have been looking for. And, you know, we talked about it. Up until this inning, they'd stranded 9 runners and only had 1 run home, and they've put up 6 here in this inning. So,
but this is the thing. I mean, Newport pitching, you get yourself in trouble. Yes, you're able to get out of it, and credit to the staff. But at some point, you know, there's going to be a breakthrough. That's just how it works. 1-2. Pitch misses just a little high. So 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. But 7-0 here in the 8th inning. Mainers on top. Michel just trying to get out of the inning. He's had a couple of opportunities. Break-even pitch, lifted shallow left field. It's the left fielder Plouffe coming in on it, and he'll make the catch on the run to retire the side. But 6 runs come in off 2 hits. The grand slam from Johnny Reiser breaks this one open, and Sanford leads it 7-0 as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Wow.
And you're listening to this game on 102.3 The Legends FM.
So the Mainers just broke this one open Newport trails 7-0 in the bottom of the 8th inning. It'll be Gethings, then top. Tawa and Harvey due up in this game, and they have their work cut out for them now. New pitcher Jake Dexter. First pitch fastball taken for strike one.
And Dexter out of the University of Southern Maine is a two-way player up there, but exclusively pitches down here for Sanford. But an NECBL All-Star last year, and he set the record for 27 appearances last season, and an NECBL record in appearances. So a guy that Chris Morris loves to go to.
0-1, nice slider, catches the inside corner, get things behind. Quickly 0-2. He's 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout as he slaps that one foul down the third base line.
And if you notice his delivery, he's kind of a three-quarters to almost all the way down to a submarine at some points, and he has a little hitch in his windup. It really throws guys off, but a ton of movement on his fastball and his slider.
0-2 pitch, chopped off the stanchion as well down the third base line. So Gethings starting to fight, and if you're Newport, your mindset, base runner after base runner. You haven't had many in this game, and Sanford bringing a new arm that you haven't seen. It looks like Gethings broke his bat there as he gets a new piece of lumber, but.
And again, on the two-seam fastball that dies out and away from the left-hand hitter, if it's on, that's exactly what's going to happen.
0-2 curveball in there for strike three. Gethings knew it.
Well, and that's that slider I told you about. He just breaks it off with regularity, and it's one of those things that if it's on, it's impossible to hit, because especially with a right-handed hitter, it's going to basically start behind their back, and the next thing you know, it's breaking out over the outer half. On that one, to a left-handed hitter, it starts in the opposite batting box and comes back over the outside. So
it's been a very well-pitched game, up and down for all the guys who have gone in for the Mainers. Tim Tawa swings at the first pitch, chops it on the ground, right side, and it gets all the way into right field, just out of the reach of White.
And the only guy that's had success here tonight, he has all 3 hits for this team.
2 errors for Newport, 3 hits. Mainers with 6 hits and 7 runs. The grand slam from Johnny Reiser. The 20th home run on the team for Sanford.
He ties for the team lead now with Tyler Solomon with 5 apiece.
Logan Harvey takes ball 1 outside.
And Zapersky kind of held back on the throwback, wasn't sure where that missed.
Yeah, it was like a double clutch. It was like,
kind of like did a look back there. But
really? That missed? Yeah. Dexter now working from the windup, or from the stretch rather. Here's the 1-0, and the fastball just catches the outside corner. That may have been a makeup call.
Yeah, again, especially since it was a little bit farther outside the plate that time, but either way, 1-1, so it's even back at pretty much where it was before.
Now on first. 1 out in the inning. Here's the 1-1 pitch. There's the slider, chased and missed for strike 2.
And the kind of the fake steal from Tawa just to get Zabersky's eye line looking there, but a swing and a miss on a pretty nasty slider there that just broke down and away from him.
Final stat line for Fisher, 1 inning. No hits, no runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. Slider misses low for ball 2. And an excellent pitching performance. Sanford came in with a 4.10 earned run average, 5th in the NECBL. 114 runs allowed, that was 3rd. And only 195 hits, that was 1st.
Well, and that's what's gotten the Mainers here to begin with, is the pitching, and they've ridden it tonight and gotten themselves out of some tough situations.
2-2 pitch, chopped foul off of Harvey's ankle.
And that's one of those ones where you foul off yourself, you'll take it because you still want to get one more pitch into the at-bats. So
this place is silent right now. Sanford coming in here trying to improve to 14-11. Newport trying to get to 500. They've been struggling to get to that mark.
Well, with Upper Valley beating Keene right now, that's big because that can put the Mainers back into 2nd place in the Northern Division and at least tie them with Keene. So, and looks like Valley is up on North Adams right now at 4-1. So I realize that doesn't necessarily pertain to you guys. Sorry about that.
No, we got two guys on the field here as that one is fouled down the right field line, out of play.
Well, it's always interesting, too, like when you play these kind of interdivisional games, especially this time of year where both teams' minds are elsewhere as opposed to right here, and that's always the catch-22 of like the interdivisional games this late into a season. So
2 balls and 2 strikes here to Harvey. The pitch popped up foul behind home plate, so he's doing a good job fighting it off here. Newport trying to, give a little bit of a fight. But
well, I mean, and I always say that this late in games, even if you don't, or if you're not able to come up with some miracle and put up 7 runs, 8 runs to come back and win this game, at least get something started for yourself positively offensively. That way for tomorrow's game, you jump right back into it and you at least have something to go off of.
2-2 pitch. That one hit on the ground left side. Third baseman Shepard goes to second for 1. The relay from White to first is low and not in time. Nice job there by Harvey digging out the double play. But there are 2 gone in the inning.
And that was going to be a tough turn because that was pretty deep into the third base hole there. So a good job to at least make a play out of it out there. But you at least get the lead runner and it's 2 outs. And Dexter is such a gamer out on the mound. It's funny, it's a 7-0 game. If he gives up 1 run, it'll be like he lost the game for the team. So a great mentality and just loves to get out there and actually play the game of baseball.
From Southern Maine, I mean, that is the culture that they breed up there.
Yeah.
Sam Dexter, his brother, really setting the tone. Hosey swings the first pitch and fouls it out of play down the right field line. But, that's what they do. They called a couple of games for USM this season, and they're just grinders. They're bring your lunch pail to the ballpark and play baseball. They don't, nothing too flashy. They just they grind away.
This is a guy that was a national D3 player of the year because he's a two-way hitter. He hit over 312 on the season. It's going to be over 315, I should say, on the season. And then he went right on the mound and had an ERA of less than 2.2. So it's like, you're looking at a guy that can do it in any way, and he just wants to be on the field. He doesn't care what he's playing. He just wants to be on the field. So
he's done a good job here. 7-0 lead, going right at the Gulls. 2 outs, 1 runner on. Here's the 0-2 pitch, chopped left side, and it's the third baseman Shepard who scoops it up. The long throw across the diamond, and it's in time. What a play. Shepard going to his right, and he's dragged into foul territory. Unbelievable play to retire the Gulls and keep them off the scoreboard. 7-0 as we head to the top of the 9th inning here on the NECBL Broadcast Network and 102.3 The Legends FM. Seven to nothing Mainers broke it open in the top of the 8th inning. The grand slam from Johnny Reiser stunned this Newport crowd. It was a close game. It was a pitching duel the entire time, but they just got in the bullpen and the floodgates opened. They had chance after chance, and then finally, boom, 6 runs in the 8th.
Well, we were talking about it, especially on the 1-2 pitch. He lined it off of the
first pitch by Marshall is swung on, grounded towards the third baseman Gonzalez. High throw, but it's in time for out number 1.
But as I was saying, it looks like he's going to get out of that inning after, the bases loaded, 2 straight fielder's choice ground balls, and then the line drive off the building. You're thinking, okay, just one more pitch, but unfortunately you put the pitch right back where it was. And it looks like they are going to bring in a pinch hitter here for Connor Shepard, going to be Brandon Langford out of UNC Asheville.
So up 7, just trying to get some guys some at-bats here because they got a long stretch ahead of them.
Yeah.
Again, so you build off this, and then you get people going. This is a huge game for Sanford.
After tonight, it's all divisional games, so very important next stretch of games, so a good way to start it out, at least on the road.
First pitch catches the outside corner for strike 1.
The batter is number 19, Brandon Langford.
Langford from the right side. Here's the 0-1, and it's popped up foul. Right side out of play.
And Langford is probably one of the few guys I think I've ever seen that can work a walk out of an 0-2 count. Now, he does strike out, not to say that he doesn't, but he has worked probably 7 or 8 walks this season out of 0-2 counts, which is very surprising.
Here's the 0-2 pitch, and that one's taken high for ball 1.
Because you'd expect a guy down 0-2, he's just going to get up there trying to protect, but he's very selective, and it's really frustrated pitchers at points.
Been a frustrating day for Newport as that one is waved and missed for strike 3. So the curveball from Michelle gets Langford swinging for out number 2.
Obviously a much better start to this inning for Michelle here. Of course,
easier to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's
down 7.
And now it's going to be Carmine Pagano who's going to pinch hit here for second baseman Jonathan White.
So White had a sac bunt, a walk. He was hit by a pitch. Grounded out to first. First pitch slider misses low for ball 1.
Pagano, one of those guys that, again, was having the night off. He's looking to kind of break out of a little slump that he has going on, but he's a constant in the field because he's an unbelievably good fielder and just really good with the leather. So
1-0 pitch popped up behind home plate, 1-1. Newport coming off that doubleheader split against the Pilgrims, trying to put some momentum together. 1-1 misses low and outside, but it's just been one step back, another step back, and maybe one more step forward. But the aggregate is not a good thing for the Gulls. Here's the 2-1. Nice breaking ball, catches higher part of the zone to even things up at 2-2.
Well, and the Mainers have felt that too, because it's one of those things that they'll come out and have a really good win, and then the next thing you know, they drop 2 straight or they drop 1, and it's just like never really gaining the momentum on trying to separate themselves.
Here's the 2-2 pitch, slider in the dirt, swung on and missed. Drop third strike, Mazza throws it down to first. So back-to-back strikeouts in a 1-2-3 inning here for Michelle, but it's a 7-run deficit. As we get to the bottom of the 9th inning, it'll be Mangrum, Gonzalez, and Plu, the 4, 5, and 6 part of the Newport lineup. Stay tuned on 102.3 The Legends FM and the NECBL Broadcast Network. Bottom of the 9th inning, 7-0, Gulls down, but that has not stopped some of the fans out there down the left field line trying to pump some life into the Gulls. Heard a nice chant from guys down there earlier on, but will it be enough? It's an uphill battle, and they'll have to face a new pitcher, Jack Weisenberg.
And Jack Weisenberger has been phenomenal this season for the Mainers. Really only one bad outing, but a flamethrower out of the University of Michigan, as he has struck out over 22 batters, struck out 22 in 10 and 2/3, 24 strikeouts, my apologies, in 10 and 2/3 innings. So he has been phenomenal out of the bullpen, and this is his kind of game coming on. Usually looking for the save, obviously not a save opportunity here, but just looking to mow it down and get out of here with a win.
The entire bullpen's been mowing him down. Smith, Fisher, and Dexter, all 1 inning. No runs and 5 strikeouts combined for the 3 relievers. It'll be Mangrum, Gonzalez, and Plu. First pitch misses low for ball 1. That skipped up and hit the mask of Zaberski. A couple of defensive changes. Brandon Langford at third base, Carmine Pagano at second.
And Langford bounces between first and third base at UNC Asheville, so he kind of can play both corners of the infield.
Here's the 1-0. Fastball runs inside. So the last thing you want here is just to walk somebody or hit him. But
well, and the last thing a hitter wants is to be hit by this fastball, because it will hurt. That is for sure.
Working from the stretch with nobody on. 7-0 lead here in the bottom of the 9th. 2-0 fastball, chased and missed.
And that's what he's going to do. He's just going to come right at you. He does have a really good slider, but at the same time, obviously, his establishing pitch is that fastball. So he's just going to come right at you. So as a hitter, you got to know that, and you got to be geared up for it.
Ingram, a guy that's seen a lot of off-speed pitches so far in this game, being challenged. 2-1, just off the outside corner. 3 balls and 1 strike. He's 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. He did walk his first time up in the second, but was picked off by a nice throw.
And sometimes,
from Dockman.
As a closer, you come in with a lead this big.
3-1, catches the inside corner as Mangrum took a few steps.
Every time.
Every time.
I've said this 150 times. That ball could have been 4 inches outside, and if he's walking down to first base, he's going to get punched.
It becomes a personal thing, and
you're calling the balls and strikes for him. That's not. Exactly.
That's not your job. You see it all the time, and you have to comment on it. But here's the 3-2 pitch. That one fouled straight back.
Again, he's just going to come right at you with the fastball. But you're right. The last thing you want to do is start calling balls and strike for the umpire, because again, that's exactly what's going to happen every single time.
I mean, it becomes kind of a pride thing too.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
your territory. You don't want to disrupt that. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch from Weisenberger, and it swung on foul and out of play.
And again, just fastball. We really haven't seen the breaking ball in this count yet. Of course, it is a 3-2 count, so a breaking ball missing here is a walk.
Sanford scoring 1 run in the 3rd off Bates. Bases loaded walk, plated Zaberski, and then that 6-run 8th. That one misses off the plate, so it is a leadoff walk here to Mangrum.
That's a good job by Mangrum. Again, down 7 runs. We talked about it. Whether or not you score 7 runs here in the 9th, probably, at least more often than not going to happen. But at the same time, you got to get something positive started offensively going through the rest of your games this week, especially against a pitcher like Jack Weisberg, a very good pitcher. And, if you gave him some confidence saying, hey, we were able to do it to him, we could do it to anybody.
We'll see if they can build off something here. Jason Gonzalez 0 for 3 on the day. First pitch misses outside, so Weisenberger is not really hitting his spots here.
And he's missed a couple, but in the last couple of starts, but he does get locked in. But like I say, as a closer, you come in with a 7-run lead. Sometimes that messes a little bit with the mentality. But
1-0 pitch. That one misses just low. 2 balls and no strikes. Well, coming as a closer, your mindset is you have to kind of be very particular with where you put your pitches. And if you're not used to pitching in this lead, Newport has no reason to chase balls because they're down big anyways. So they're gonna
be as patient as humanly possible.
Yep.
So
2 balls and no strikes. Here's the pitch. Fastball low.
And it's one thing, he's not missing up. He's missing low, and it's just a matter of just holding onto the ball a little bit too long. So Zaberski's going to come out and talk to him and say, hey, listen, again, even if they score a run, who cares? You know what I mean? Just get up there, finish this game, let's get out of here.
I mean, even if they hit it hard, you still have, percentage-wise, it's got to drop somewhere. So,
exactly.
Yeah, maybe if they score 3, then you start to get in your closer mindset.
Yeah.
But maybe that's what he needs. Maybe that's why he's just
working into his save opportunity, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm sure head coach Chris Morris will love that.
Mangrum with the lead off first. Nobody out. Here's the pitch. And it's a fastball that misses outside, so back-to-back walks. Newport has runners on first and second.
And I will say that the zone has started to shrink here in the ninth, which is always strange. Usually it goes the opposite way. Usually it starts to expand, but that outside corner has quickly evaporated. So if you are Jack Weisenberger, you know that's the case, and you've seen it through the first 2 hitters. So adjust to that and just get yourself out of this inning.
Yeah, it seems like he has a straighter fastball than the previous guys.
Yeah.
So not as much movement. It can make it a little easier on the ump to see where he wants to call the strikes. Here's Dylan Plew. First pitch is in there for strike 1.
That's a good pitch there. Again, after you throw a bunch of balls in a row, you come right back at it and be able to find that strike zone.
Plew is 0 for 2 with a walk. He was stranded on second. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one's lined into center field, but right at Marshall, who makes the catch for out number 1.
And that ball sounded really good coming off the bat, but again, just a heat seeker right at Marshall. Second one we've seen go to Marshall where it really hasn't had to move. Has a good piece, obviously, on that ball. You heard it coming off the bat, but just not enough underneath it.
Yeah, that's frustrating for Plew and for the Gulls. That one drops, then maybe you start to get some momentum.
Yeah.
7 runs, still a lot. Definitely a huge mountain to climb, but if you get 2, still nobody out, it's got to be a lot of things happening early in the inning. It's not going to happen with 2 outs necessarily.
And again, at the very least, you're gaining confidence offensively for the next game. So, you're getting stuff back together.
Mangrum on second, Gonzalez on first, 1 down. Here's Jack Blumgren.
Of course, that's a big out for Weisenberger, especially after putting the first 2 guys on via the walk.
First pitch waved and missed for strike 1. Well, I mean, that's exactly what you said. Challenge them, make them hit it hard, but they still have to beat a good 7 guys behind them.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
So that's the game plan, and he got a quick one there. Blumgren, a couple of strikeouts, did lay down a sacrifice bunt. Behind 0-1 here in the bottom of the ninth. Pitch misses off the plate, 1-1.
And it's always interesting when you see guys in Summer League facing each other, teammates back in Michigan. Blumgren from University of Michigan, as is Jack Weisenberger. You see them talking before the game. Now they match up against one another, and especially 2 guys that won't see each other very often this season. Always a fun little undertone to an at-bat.
You always wonder who has the advantage, too. That's been an ongoing conversation here in the NECBL. 1-1, slider misses outside. I always say the batter, personally.
Yeah. Well, of course, you talk to either one of them, they're both going to say, I have the advantage, but yeah, you're right. It's because of the fact that even if you don't take BP from him, you see him pitch on a daily basis, so you know what kind of stuff he has. You know he throws hard, so you adjust to that going up there.
Here's the 2-1, and it's a swing that's fouled straight back to even things up at 2.
And as a pitcher, if you can get the guy to fan, you're always, it's always a little bit extra giddy up in your step, especially in post-game handshakes for sure.
Post-game handshakes, post-game, after games.
Text message to the trash
text
talking.
messages even at the picnic, when they're sharing food
absolutely.
afterwards. And, honestly, maybe it'll carry over into the spring.
That's what I do love about this league and just really Summer League in general is how quickly.
2-2 misses low and outside. And both runners will advance 90 feet, so Mangrum on third. Gonzalez now on second with 1 out.
Well, like I was going to say, just how quickly, even after a bad loss, guys can just let it go and kind of move on, and they see their friends from the other team, and they immediately start joking and laughing. And so, regardless of what the outcome is of games, it's always nice to see them kind of just lock back in and have fun.
So many games that they're playing such a long season as the 3-2 runs outside. So another walk, the third of the inning. Bases are now loaded with one down for John Mazza. But yeah, this, as important as it may be, we're going to have a meeting at the mound.
I think Weisenberger might be coming out of this one because I think Morris is just like, listen, I don't want to waste him anymore as far as pitches are concerned and just have his pitch count skyrocket because then you lose him for the next couple of games. So it looks like the Air are going to keep him in, but I'm pretty sure this is one of those things that he said, hey, you got one more batter.
Yeah.
Get us out of this.
Yeah.
So
it was hey, let's wake up here.
Yeah. Dial back in.
You walked 3 guys with a 7-0 lead in the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah. Let's not get lazy about it. Let's just dial back in and get out of here and keep this score at least remain where it is. So.
Credit to Newport trying to claw
absolutely.
back, good at bats, but Mazza, who's 0 for 3 on the evening, takes ball 1 just a little high. It's definitely tightened up the zone.
Yeah, it's becoming more like throwing into a tin can at this point. So, but again, if you're a hitter, you don't care.
Yep. And you know that. And, you take
exactly.
notes and you adjust to it, and that's what the Gulls have done here. Very patient. Bases loaded, 1 out. And that one misses high and inside. Wonder if there's any action in the bullpen here. You assume there is. Yeah, they got another lefty going.
It's Cal Skidmore up in the bullpen, so. And that's the thing, you're up 7-0. You just want to get out of here with a win. It's been over a 3-hour game, so.
Long trip ahead of you as well. 2-0 pitch. Fastball misses outside. So 3 balls and no strikes.
And, I mean, he's just missing on some of these pitches. Again, the strike zone starting to shrink a little bit here, but at the same time, it's on Weisenberger at this point because it's just been nothing but walk after walk.
On the verge of plating its first run are the Gulls. Down 7-0. Here's the 3-0 pitch with the bases loaded, and it's in there for strike 1.
And that's a kind of a head scratcher, if you ask me. I mean, that's higher and inside than the previous 3 balls, but
yeah, this is very bizarre. We don't.
It's always the opposite. It's always all of a sudden the strike zone becomes the ocean. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But
here's the 3-1. That one's waved and missed for strike 2. So Weisenberger, after all this, is trying to battle back. He's got a full count here to Mazza. Mangrum led off with a walk. Then Gonzalez walked. Plouffe hit it right on the button, but right at Marshall out in center field. Then Blumgren walked. Now another full count pitch. That one is lifted foul out of play down the right field line.
And as I said, even if he gets an out here, if you're Chris Morris, maybe you start thinking about it because you don't want Weisenberger's pitch count to skyrocket in this start because, again, you're up 7-0. You want to keep one of your main closers good to go for the rest of this week because a lot of big-time divisional games coming up.
Comes to the set. Here's the pitch, and it's a fastball that is in there for strike 3. Zerbinski dropped the pitch. It is on the outside corner. Mazza can't believe it. A tough call, very inconsistent here, but there are 2 outs in the inning.
I don't blame Mazza on that at all because 3 times in that at-bat, that was a ball. And then on the 4th time, it's a strike.
Not only that, I mean, Zerbinski dropped it. If it's a close pitch like that and the catcher drops it, it's usually called. Usually, that's been the word that should no longer be thrown around.
I would say maybe we shouldn't say usually anymore.
Here's Jack Gething's first pitch is in there for strike 1. Gething has struck out twice, both looking. He also walked his first time up. Very, very angsty end to this game.
I'm just going to continue to use that word for the rest of the season.
You
angsty.
have to.
I like that.
Could be the word of a playoff run. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Fastball just misses inside, 1-1. That was probably a similar spot to the one Mazza struck out on. He was just a righty.
Maybe the key is he needs to drop it. I think that might be the key there.
Yeah. You try anything at this point.
Sometimes it just gets comical late in games. A little delirium, if you will.
Weisenberger from the stretch, 1-1. That gets all the way to the backstop. Mangrum will trot home. And Newport is on the board.
And it's a wild pitch that got out of play, so there was no play to be made out of it at home. And
so 7-1.
Yeah, the shutout's gone, but
Still an uphill battle. It's a 2-1 count here to Gethings. But first base is open. In case he wants to place him there, we'll see. 3 walks in the inning. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That one chopped, ricocheted off the glove of Weisenberger. Goes to the second baseman, Pagano, who fires it to first to retire Gethings. And that is the ball game, folks. Final score here. Sanford Mainers win 7-1. And the Gulls drop to 13-15. Sanford improving to 14-11. It was a pitcher's duel up until the grand salami from Johnny Reiser. And that's really all they would need. Stick around. We'll have the full post-game report and more after this. You're tuned in to NECBL Baseball on 102.3 The Legends FM and the NECBL Broadcast Network. So the Gulls dropped this one. It was close for a while, but again, Johnny Reiser with the grand slam off Austin Michelle. And the Mainers had opportunities throughout the game. They couldn't really come up with anything. There was a stretch there where there were 3 sacrifice bunts in a row after the leadoff man got on. And leadoff man got on in the 8th, and instead it was Marshall who stole the base to get into scoring position. And then after that, it just unraveled. Walks and a bunch of fielders' choices as well, and then the grand slam to put the cherry on top of things. But Newport, again, drops to 13-15. They're just struggling to put together consistent games night after night. They beat the first place Plymouth Pilgrims 4-3 in a comeback win in 7 innings. It looked like maybe this would be the thing to get them momentum. We talk about all the time in previous games, momentum going forward. It just hasn't been that way. It's been a car stuck in neutral here for the Gulls, and very frustrating for sure, because quickly this season is winding down. Still a couple of weeks left, still a lot of baseball, but it just seems like the mood of this team, just the way things have been going, very frustrating, very angsty. We'll say Newport drops to 7-8 at home so far this season. They're 6-7 on the road, and it's just been very frustrating. Again, for the Mainers, they scored 1 run in the 3rd inning. It was Zerbinsky that came in when Solomon walked. Bates came out of the game. His final stat line as the starter was 3 1/3 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. But really, the pitching staff for the Mainers: Dockman, 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. Then Smith, Fisher, Dexter, and Weisenberger, all with an inning each. And besides Weisenberger's walks, it was very sharp, and you mentioned it. This was their strength.
Well, and this is a very similar game. We mentioned it earlier, the 1-0 win in 11 innings at Mystic, and it was 6 pitchers that came in and just did exactly what we saw tonight. Very minimal amount of hits, and didn't really let base runners progress past second base, really until that last inning there, and that really just came via the walk, and that's the main issue as far as that the Mainers have sometimes fallen behind on, is walking a few too many guys. But in tonight's they got right back to the vintage Mainers bullpen and pulled out of here with a 7-1 victory. So a good job for them. And if you're the offense, I realize it was 1 6-run inning that did it for you, but at the same time, 4 runs of those coming with 2 outs.
Yep.
So you got to look at it and say, okay, we got the 2 out hitting going, but we got to get more of it, because they did strand 9 runners on base up until that point.
Yep. Mainers out hit Newport 6-3. 2 errors for the Gulls. One very costly, the one off the glove of Michelle on the transfer. The next batter was the grand slam. So that certainly hurt the Gulls. Mike, great time. It was a great game, very entertaining all the way till the end, on the edge of our seats, great posture. And, we'll be up there in Sanford in a couple of weeks, I believe, maybe after the All-Star break.
Yep.
And we'll see if we can have another good game between the Gulls and the Mainers.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a pleasure working with you.
Yeah, thanks
so
a lot.
much, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
All
Appreciate
right.
the hospitality, and good luck to you guys for the rest of the season.
Thank you. Same to you. For the rest of the post-game report, we'll send things over to Newport Gulls field reporter Joe DeLeon. Joe?
Thank you, Dave. Before we go into breaking down the game, we're just going to take a quick look at the scores that occurred throughout the NECBL tonight. And the most shocking one is actually the Danbury Westerners beating the Ocean State Waves, who were down big at one point against the Waves early in the game, but managed to pull out a pretty big victory, a 5-run victory, 11-6. Other games that occurred around the league: Upper Valley Nighthawks getting the 5-1 dub against the Keene Swamp Bats. Plymouth Pilgrims were able to prevail against the Mystic Schooners 5-4, Winnipesaukee Muskrats again fall 2-3 on the Vermont Mountaineers. And finally, the Valley Blue Sox, the Northern Division leader, get the 6-2 victory. So just a quick look at how the game ended up turning out for Newport. Only one player for the Gulls produced all of the offensive production, 3 hits in 4 at-bats for Tim Tawa. And most surprisingly is actually statistically not a single player on this lineup recorded an RBI. Only 1 run was scored, and that came from the result of a passed ball with Stevie Mangrum on third as he basically casually jogged from third base to home. What do you think was the result of all of these offensive woes that came today?
The big issue, I mean, it's been the story all season long, is the strikeout. I mean, we saw during the game there was some inconsistency behind home plate, but it's the NECBL. You're playing summer collegiate baseball. You're not going to have the best umpires. You're not going to have major league umpires. You got to adjust. And the Gulls seem like they can't adjust 12 strikeouts. It's really tough to win a ball game when you're striking out 12 times rather. It's tough to put up runs that way too, but it's really hard to find one specific reason why the Gulls are losing, because you give up 7 runs. It's pretty hard to win a game that way too. So it's kind of scary when on both sides of the ball you're really struggling.
So one of the points that I feel that we've continuously touched upon during and throughout the season was their lack of ability to produce against good pitching staffs. Now, the Sanford Mainers had a top 5 pitching staff today. I believe their ERA as a unit is 5th overall. Do you think that's an issue that they can't get any hits off of these top units? Do you think that's the main reason why they're having offensive struggles?
Absolutely, and at the end of the day, your goal is to make the playoffs and make a move in the playoffs, and they're going to be facing the best pitching staffs in the postseason. So if you can't hit them now, you're not going to be able to hit them if you can even make it to the postseason. So of course that's concerning, and you can't avoid it. You know, and we saw with Plymouth that the Gulls were able to steal one in the doubleheader, and they were hoping that they could maybe bring that momentum and swing it into the home game tonight. And falling it just like this almost seems like they're going right back to where they were the past 8 games, where they dropped 6 of them.
We're starting into that home stretch in which the season's going to be over soon. The summer season isn't particularly super long, but it's going to be done in the very first week of August. What do you think the Gulls need to do in order to turn things around so that they're within range of making the playoffs? But what do you think that they need to do just to finish strong?
Well, the big thing is, the crazy thing about the NECBL is there aren't a lot of games played. Like you said, the season's quick. So no matter how bad things get, you're always within a couple games of reach. So if they can just put a couple wins together, string it together, and get on a little bit of a run here, they can be right back in the race. As ugly as things have been, they're only 2 games under 500. Not that many games played, and there's still a few games to go. So you make a run, the top 3 teams make it in each division. And at that point, you know, once you get to the playoffs, it's just whoever gets hot at the right time. So we're going to send it down to Dave Peck, who's going to wind things down here for the postgame show.
Final score here from Cardines Field. Sanford Mainers defeat the Gulls 7-1. The Gulls fall to 13-15 on the year. They'll be back in action when they face off against the Keene Swamp Bats tomorrow night, and back home on Friday evening when they take on the Ocean State Waves for the 2nd time this week. We'd like to thank everyone a part of the broadcast here. Our executive producer Tom Lima, Shannon Carlson, our producer, our audio technician Dan Byford. Nick Bella was our on-site engineer today with our broadcast volunteer Madison Gilman. Social media coordinator was Aram Layton, with Andre Olivier, our statistician, and Joe DeLeon, our field reporter. For Mike Glennon, the voice of the Sanford Mainers, I'm Dave Peck, saying so long from the city by the sea.